our special double-length Christmas podcast. Cody and myself and Scott Patrick Dillon are going to talk about what is and is not a Christmas movie.
Some might even say this is like bonus content.
This is definitely bonus content. Like some would say maybe you need to pay for this. You cheapskates.
You filthy animals.
Merry Christmas, you filthy animals.
Pop culture pastor.
And anyways, so unless Tim Allen's character literally murdered Santa Claus, then the Santa Claus contract doesn't actually take effect. You see, Santa had to die. There's some people out there who say
he didn't.
There's some people out there who say when he waves that he's tacitly going off to like Santa retirement land. But Tim Allen has said that there's actually the earlier draft of the script where he shoots him.
Oh,
so Santa had to die.
You're
never gonna look at that movie the same way again.
I like to think that he's in Florida, the first Santa.
He went to a Santa farm.
Yep,
it's a nice Santa farm where he could run free. Oh, hello. Well, we're here. It's time for Pop Culture Pastor and our special Christmas edition, our Christmas pod.
The best Christmas pod that we'll do. So, for this year,
we're 1 for 1. You hear Cody's voice. I'm Dave. We have very special guests for part 1 of this Christmas pod. We have Leah, Cody's wife. Hi, Leah.
Hi.
Closer to the mic.
I'm closer to the
mic. There you
go.
She's afraid. She didn't want to get your cooties.
This is true.
I don't blame her.
And my wife's here, Danielle.
Hello.
Hi. And we're here to talk about what our favorite Christmas movies are. And I'm assuming fight. Are we going to fight? Are we?
There's going to be a throwdown for one of them.
Is there really?
I don't know, but
we're going to give people like a preview.
Naming it and claiming it.
Yeah. You better watch it. That's going to become like the podcast's catchphrase. And
Aim
I'm pretty
small,
sure.
Miss Small.
Are we sure that Joel Osteen hasn't copyrighted that?
He probably has, but I mean, surely he'd give us some free will love on that.
I thought of a good question.
Okay.
I'll ask you first. I'll give the ladies time to think. But since we're gonna go around and we're gonna give our top 5 Christmas movies, our favorite Christmas movies. It's not like what we think's the best cinematic experience or anything like that. Just what our top 5 favorite Christmas movies are. So Cody, I thought I would ask you, what do you think might be on the girls' list that would not be on our lists? Like, let's have some fun. Let's try to guess.
I already know The Holiday is going to be on someone's list.
Okay. Because you know your wife, obviously.
And then let me make sure that I got the name of this movie correct, because I feel someone will have it. Love Actually.
Love Actually, yeah.
That's not on my list, but if I had to guess, that's going to be on someone's list.
Those are pretty good guesses, and I think I would have definitely said Love Actually. I kind of forgot The Holiday was a Christmas movie. But until we talked about it a couple weeks ago.
Which holiday did you think it was talking about?
Well, I thought it meant like they were just on vacation. A holiday, Anyways. Ladies, what do you think might possibly be on Cody and mine's list that would not be on your average lady's list of favorite Christmas movies?
One of you is definitely going for Die Hard.
Die Hard?
Definitely.
That's a pretty good one. I think Die Hard is now like the quintessential man Christmas movie.
I mean, I guess I would have to say Gremlins, or I've listened to the podcast enough to know that maybe Home Alone 3 or 2. Is that the one that Cody likes?
Did Cody like Home Alone 3?
It's not bad, but it's not Home Alone 1 or 2.
Okay, 2. 2.
There is significant chatter out there among millennials that Home Alone 2 is better than Home Alone 1. We're not going there, right? All right, you're a millennial. You guys are millennials.
I'm not going there.
Okay.
Okay, I might argue that. Okay, but I have a reasoning.
Okay.
But you're going to laugh at it. And
No, I would never.
But it's Only because of the scene where they're standing there with their ears against the door and it's the tool chest coming down the stairs. I laugh hysterically every time. And I don't know why, but it's only that scene and then I'm done.
That's the one where like he gets left in New York City,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. But it's just that scene and then I'm like, I'm good. I'm out.
I loved that when the first Home Alone came out. I remember laughing hysterically at it. Now, every time I watch it when he's beating those guys up, I just think, oh, what? I laughed at this? That would kill a man.
Right.
I mean, the one where he takes like the full paint can in the face. I don't. Paint cans are heavy.
The iron falling.
The iron. Although I still laugh when Daniel Stern screams. He plays Marv. Isn't he Marv? Which one is which? Harry.
Marv's the tall.
Harry's Joe Pesci.
Harry's Joe Pesci.
Yeah, Marv. When the spider is crawling on his face, that scream is so hilarious. Anyways, I guess we should start. We should start with who wants to go first? Cody, you want to go first? You want to give us your number 5 movie?
Okay.
Christmas movie, your favorite, number 5 favorite Christmas movie.
Okay. So this barely beat out The Grinch with Jim Carrey. Is Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer.
Okay, so like the
claymation.
old stop motion.
Stop motion.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay.
That's an all-time classic.
Yeah, and I think we talked about this a couple weeks ago. People forget that pretty much classifies as a short movie.
Yes.
It's definitely not a half-hour Christmas special.
No, and like there's some good messages within it. There's some funny moments, especially with Yukon Cornelius, who says "Bumbles bounce" because they do. And I mean, there's just so much fun in it. Besides the sadness of everyone picking on Rudolph, but don't worry, he'll save you in Christmas. So.
I just imagine that 1950s entertainment comedy specifically is just right up your comedy alley.
It is.
Like the Bumble. That's the third time you've mentioned Bumble's Bounce in the last few weeks.
And I'll keep doing it. And literally, they made the snowman look exactly like Burl Ives. So
They did make him look like Burl Ives. Although most people listening to this podcast don't even know who Burl Ives is.
Google.
I wish my grandma was still around. She'd be like, I know who you're talking about, sweetheart. You know? Leah, do you want to go? Sure. Do you want to give your number 5 movie?
My number 5 movie is The Holiday.
The Holiday.
Yes.
I was hoping this would be on your list because, there's woke people trying to cancel it. And I know that, I wouldn't say you're woke because that seems to be an insult, I guess, in the culture.
It is, but I would say I'm fair.
But you're aware of social issues.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's a fair cancel culture issue.
Yeah.
Yes, I would say.
I mean, basically, I don't know if you listened to that podcast or if Cody told you about it, but basically they're canceling it because the dudes in that movie are just they're not perfect, I guess. But I think that was the point. Jude Law's character in particular is supposed to be kind of a smarmy guy.
But if you see the movie, he lost his wife. She dies. And so he is kind of going down a spiral.
Yeah.
He's coming back from it. And so I think that's kind of part of the movie is kind of self-growth for all of them. And I think it's very wholesome. I think it's important to kind of go through those things when you are healing. And I like it. I think it's fun.
Is that your favorite part of the movie? Just the path all the characters kind of go on?
Especially Kate Winslet when she kind of takes back control of everything that she kind of gave the male character on her side. Like she was in love with him and it was kind of a lot of gaslighting and back and forth. And when she finally realizes, I'm not in love with you anymore. This is what you did to me, and I'm done being in love with you. I'm going to move forward, and you're not going with me. It's really powerful.
Yeah.
Oh, and Christmas is involved, by the way, just so you know.
It's been so long since I've seen that movie. I'm pretty sure we watched that at some point.
Yeah, I think we watched it. Maybe like
when it came out.
Yeah, I think maybe we watched it when it came out, but I don't think I've seen it since.
Is it?
It's on Netflix or something,
Yeah.
isn't it? We should
Does that
watch
tell
it.
you how long we've been together when we know we've seen a movie together and we both can't remember it? Or do you remember that movie?
I remember it a little bit. I mean, like she comes to the U.S., right? And is it Cameron Diaz?
Yeah, they
goes-
swap houses.
Yeah.
It's kind of weird. That's kind of
Yeah.
weird for
Yeah.
me, but
All right.
It's like Airbnb-ish.
yeah,
right?
kind of. Yeah.
I remember it being good. I just don't remember much about it.
Yeah.
Danielle, would you like to go next with your number 5?
So,
favorite
number
Christmas
5
movie?
for me would probably be the Charlie Brown Christmas.
Classic.
Yes.
Just kind of sentimental. I just like it.
Yeah. We talked extensively about that on the TV side of it, which
I consider it a movie, though.
what's that?
I consider it a movie. It's a movie, right?
Yeah, it's,
Yeah.
Again, it's long. Was that what we talked about with Scott?
Yeah, I believe so.
So that'll be coming up on part 2 of this podcast, because we talked about Christmas on TV with Scott. But we did discuss that a lot of those Christmas specials, they're not like today's where they're only half an hour cartoons. It was another one that was longer. And I told Danielle, I told Scott and Cody that the cool thing about the Charlie Brown Christmas special is that Linus is like a pastor in that show. He's like a minister. He's like spouting Bible quotes and preaching. And that was like my only exposure to Bible pretty much when I was a kid.
As a peanut would do.
And so what is it you recall about that?
I don't know. I just remember the music and, of course, the little Christmas tree.
Oh, the Charlie Brown Christmas tree. Yeah. All right. My number 5 movie is under the radar, but I did talk about it on another podcast. But it's called The Family Man. 2000 fantasy comedy drama is what Wikipedia says about it. Directed by Brett Ratner, starring Nick Cage. I recently rewatched it, like yesterday.
Noise.
I wasn't feeling well, so I went home early and I thought, you know what? I watch this every year. I'm going to watch Family Man. Basically, it's a remake, sort of loosely based on It's a Wonderful Life, updated, and it's about Nick Cage's character, who's like this high flying Wall Street guy, CEO, who makes tons of money, but he's single. He's an older guy, and he's given an opportunity to go get a glimpse of the life he passed on when he left his college sweetheart at the airport to go start his career. And he wakes up and they're married. They've got the suburban home in New Jersey, which of course is very disgusting to him at first. But through the course of the movie, he learns that, hey, he likes being a dad. He falls in love with his kids. That's the cool part about this movie and maybe it's why it appeals to me, is because he starts off, it's not just about him and how much he loves his old girlfriend, who is now in this glimpse his wife. It's through the course of the movie, it's made clear that it's not just his wife, is that he loves his 2 kids that have, in this glimpse, in this false reality, he kind of falls for these children as well, and being a dad, and it's really cool to watch. Even though I will say this, when I watched it again, Cody, Nick Cage is not great.
He is the best part of any movie he is in.
No, actually, I just kept thinking he's kind of weird and unhinged. And I thought, man, with any other actor, this movie probably would have been an instant classic. What was that, Leah?
I totally agree with that.
Yeah.
100%.
Do you know what movie I'm talking about? Have you seen this
Yeah.
movie? Okay. It's a great movie. And I realized when I watched it yesterday that I don't like it because of Nick Cage. I like it in spite of Nick Cage.
Like, he was too young at that time, but like, imagine Ryan Reynolds in that role.
Oh, yes. That would be perfect.
I think you all are dismissing the Nick Cage
Yes, exactly.
way too quickly. Like,
Cody, is Con Air your favorite movie?
that is my wife.
No way. Yay!
Hello, hummingbird. Like, have you? You're looking at me like you've never seen.
Oh, no. Con Air.
Oh, no, we've seen it and laughed at it a lot.
Con Air gave
So much.
rise to what may be the best GIF or GIF, however you like to pronounce it, of all time.
Like where he's just standing
where he
there in
like
the wind.
his hair's flowing and there's like glitter behind him. I mean, that is one of the greatest GIFs of all time.
Like, I just feel like he's just always. It's the same. You just get the same character. I just feel like he's just not very diverse.
Yeah, and I just feel like
You need unhingedness during Christmas.
no, I really listen. I've watched The Family Man probably 100 times, seriously, and I think yesterday that was the first time I've watched it with like more of a critical eye, and I thought, you know what, he really holds this movie back because I was trying to figure out why this movie isn't as popular as I think it should be, because it's a great movie, I think.
Okay, so I have a hypothetical.
Okay.
What if, because there's a movie that didn't make my list, but we watched it all the time growing up. And like, what if we switched actors in it? Because I think the script is what holds it back. Jack Frost, you take Michael Keaton and you put him in.
Young Michael Keaton would have been amazing in this role too. Okay, so here's the thing. This movie was originally made for this. How about this? This movie, and you'll understand this when you realize that Jeremy Piven is in this movie. This movie was originally made for Jeremy Piven's buddy, star of Grosse Point Blank. Why can't I think of his name? I know why, because it's the COVID. Doggone it. My brain is just so messed up. Cusack. John Cusack.
Oh.
So this movie was originally written with the idea that John Cusack would be playing this character. And I feel like that would have been a much better movie.
So I'm a huge fan of John Cusack, so I would have watched it.
Yeah.
Although my wife, not as big of a fan of John, or doesn't like Joan. One of the two.
I still think the Ryan Reynolds idea, if they wanted to remake this movie and put Ryan Reynolds in it would have, he'd be perfect. He'd be perfect for it. He has enough of the sensitivity. That's what I think the Nick Cage, I wanted more oomph in the tender scenes. So there's scenes like with his daughter where I felt like, oh man, he just doesn't carry enough of the feelings here to make this scene like it should. Like, there's a scene when, so the daughter instantly recognizes that he's not her dad and thinks he's an alien. It's like an ongoing bit in the movie. And at one point they're playing out in the snow and she is sitting on his chest and she says, I'm so glad you're back, Dad. And Nick Cage is just kind of Nick Cagey in that scene. But like, I felt like I watched that scene. I was like, man, that should have been a dynamite scene, and Nick Cage just kind of Nick Caged it.
Not the bees.
I love that as a verb.
Yeah, Nick Caged. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It kind of reminds me of Community when Abed goes full Nick Cage.
Oh my goodness, I don't remember this.
Oh, that was a great episode.
Anyways, for its faults, because it's not a perfect movie. For its faults, it's one of my favorite Christmas movies. I love the idea of what this is. This is like, okay, so the best Christmas movies, in my opinion, are the ones that remind us of. So think A Christmas Carol, where Scrooge is basically taken through this wonderful, story to basically learn that what he has based his life on has been, a terrible misconception, a terrible mistake. He's wasted his life on the acquisition of money and power and status. And this movie's kind of the same way where we have Nick Cage, who has built his life on what he thought was these opportunities to keep climbing this corporate ladder. And like at the beginning of the movie, when he's leaving his college girlfriend, he's like, we've agreed that this is too important of an opportunity. It's only a year away. And so he goes down this path. And what I love about this is, like, at the end of the day, this is a secular film that basically says the same things that the Christmas season and what Jesus had to say is what you think is important. this money, power, worldly power, status is not important. What's important is the love that you share. And I love that about the Christmas season and certain Christmas movies in that this is like a totally secular movie. There's other than the just insinuation that Don Cheadle's character is an angel, although albeit a slightly foul-mouthed one. It's a totally secular movie. There's no mention of anything spiritual in it, but the theme is very spiritual. And I think that's why I like it. And I like movies like, even though it's not on my list, A Christmas Carol.
Or you're just secretly a big Nick Cage fan and you're trying to deny it.
No, I think I came to the conclusion that just Nick Cage doesn't help the film. All right.
Okay.
All right. Cody, what's your number 4? Number 4 favorite Christmas movie?
Home Alone Dose.
You were right. Home Alone
Do I get a
2.
prize?
Home Alone 2 makes the list.
Man, okay. I'll hear you out, I guess.
Okay.
I just can't believe you couldn't come up with any better movies than Home Alone 2 in your top 5.
It might be one of the best sequels of all time.
Oh, Cody.
Oh, it's true. If you like the first one, you're going to like the second one. Like, it's not a huge departure.
Is it because Donald Trump's in it? You just a big Trump fan?
Make some Christmas memories.
Cody, are you a MAGA? Are you a MAGA guy?
I am not. Shocking, I know. So, in this delightful adventure of Home Alone 2, Kevin McAllister and his family, again, are going to go on vacation. This time he actually gets in the van, gets to the airport, but they get separated.
I mean, do you want congratulations? Oh, congratulations on not forgetting one of your kids this time. Way to go, McAllisters.
Well, unfortunately, they got separated. So family goes to Miami.
Somebody should
Kevin-
really call social services.
They should have. But Kevin ends up in New York because why not? And while in New York, somehow the wet bandits get out of jail. And now are the sticky bandits.
That is dynamite writing, by the way.
It was great.
That is the best gimmick of the entire movie. The sticky
Easily.
bandits, yeah.
I love it. Anytime the sticky bandits are on camera, it makes the movie great. And then there's the sweet elderly gentleman that runs the toy store that teaches Kevin the true meaning of Christmas. It's not about buying all these gifts. It's about giving hope and joy and love and turtle doves and those sorts of things. And then you have the lady that like lives in Central Park and has a bunch of friends that are doves.
Yeah. I'm going to allow this on the strength of the bird lady alone. The bird lady steals the movie.
So, yes, someone that I am married to, the only person I'm married to, loves the bird lady. And
That was a weird way to put that, but okay.
Yeah.
All right.
just wanted you to know there's no sister-wife thing going on.
Okay.
So,
Yeah. Good.
but, I mean, quite literally, Kevin has an uncle that lives in New York but is gone on vacation because evidently all the McAllisters are rich. And so Kevin like sets up traps in his uncle's house and destroys all the nice renovation work that was going on and saves Christmas and the toy store's charity.
Very nice.
Yeah. He's a hero.
Anything else you want to share? Big love?
Classic. And like, again, I mean, it has aged like a fine wine.
Wow. That's high praise. I mean, I thought it was good. I think it's a good movie. It's not one of my top 5 favorites, obviously, but
What'd you love about it?
what do you love about it? Yeah.
What don't I love about it? That's a better question.
Does it just hit you in the right wheelhouse when it comes out, your age wise?
Like,
Because by the time that comes out, I'm pretty
Tim
sure I'm a
Curry
young adult.
is in it, and he's hilarious.
What year does that come out?
92. So Tim Curry's in it. Is it Stuart French that's in it as well?
French Stewart.
I'm going to call him.
You flip flopped his name
Yes.
there. It's okay. It happens to French all the time.
No, it's Rob Schneider.
Oh,
Sorry.
Rob, it's not even French Stewart. It's the guy who got turned down for French's roles.
Yes,
Rob
it
Schneider.
is. But anyway, so yeah, Rob Schneider and Tim Curry steal the show as well, and then you get a guest appearance by a future president.
That's like the claim to fame of the movie now. People, honestly, that's the weirdest thing for some people, I bet, because I don't know that if a lot of people below the age of 30 or 35 really understand how, like, in the public eye Trump has always been. Like, for some of us who are old enough to remember, I can remember seeing him on like Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous in the 80s and telling people, like, yeah, even back then, I think that was why I was uncomfortable. If we can go politics for a second, I was kind of uncomfortable the whole time he was running for the first time. And I'm like, are people really going to vote for this guy? Because I'm pretty sure anyone over the age of 35 knows that we've never really liked him. What happened? How come everyone started liking him all of a sudden? Was it the TV show? The You're Fired?
That, or he was helpful to Kevin in Home Alone 2.
It's millennials' fault.
That's true.
Okay. Who's next? Leah, your number 4 favorite Christmas movie.
I am going to go with The Grinch,
The Jim Carrey one.
Jim Carrey one,
Yeah.
because I think it's just really wholesome. I like the message behind it because I think that it definitely goes along the theme that Christmas is more than, 'cause, they talk about how it's more than, it comes without gifts, bags, tags there at the end. And I just like the theme that it goes with that, because Christmas is more than gifts. And I don't know. I think it's really wholesome. I really like that.
Yeah.
And I think Jim Carrey is phenomenal as the Grinch. Like,
Yeah.
it's hysterical.
The movies made from Dr. Seuss stuff usually turn out pretty well with a good moral to the
Yes.
story, because Dr. Seuss obviously created stories with morals in it, with good morals in it. Even that's why it was so unfortunate when everyone tried to cancel him last year.
Yes. That bothered me.
Because he did. I mean, like, he has some stories where there was some racially insensitive stuff.
sure.
But again, we do that thing where we judge someone who lived in a different context. We try to judge them by our context, and we can't separate that. Like, yeah, when he did that, it wouldn't have been. Nobody would have batted an eye at that. Unfortunately, like, we actually, progress in the way we think, which is good. But yeah, holding someone responsible he's not even alive anymore.
Right.
Like, what are you going to do? But that's neither here nor there. I will say that every time I watch that movie, I'm reminded of how underrated it is.
Yeah.
It's a really good movie.
And I watch movies and I like take away a good message. I'm like, oh, this is really good. There's a good message. Where Cody watched a movie and he's like, this isn't realistic. I'm like, well, yeah, we're not watching Armageddon and we're not going to really send Bruce Willis to an asteroid and blow it up. That's Cody.
Just to be clear, Cody, do you think Armageddon is realistic? Is that what I'm hearing?
No, that's not the movie I would die on the hill for. And
Because that movie is far from realistic.
but in The Grinch, I will say that you're missing a very key point, which is they bullied him into isolation and then bullied him as an adult. So, you know what? I'm glad that for a little while they were hopeless. And then he returned their hope.
So what I think I hear you saying is that you're canceling the Who's for their tradition of bullying, and you're all for the redemptive violence that the Grinch wants to deal out.
Vigilante justice.
Vigilante, whatever you want to call it. Whatever you want to call it, Jonah. Okay?
So here comes my realist husband. And he just can't take the good message from a movie. He has to come in with the real world harsh punishment.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So
He's going to send him to the asteroid. From
I
Armageddon.
always forget about that movie. It's weird. But when I watch The Grinch with Jim Carrey, I forget how funny it is, number one.
Yes.
Because Jim Carrey's funny. That movie's funny. Number two, there's good music in it. The little girl,
Cindy Lou Who?
Where Are You Christmas? That's a great Christmas song. I think that's one of the most underrated Christmas songs.
I agree.
Yeah. It deserves to be redone by, a current artist. Oh. Okay. Anything else? Anybody want to say anything else about the Grinch? Jim Carrey? Cindy Lou Who?
Cindy Lou Who is the redemptive quality of the movie.
Yes.
So
yeah, she's wonderful.
there's so many Grinch movies though. Like it's hard to decide which one I want to choose. Like the cartoon one's a classic, the old one, and then of course the new one with Benedict Cumberbatch.
Cody's like, I love the message, but if your heart really grew 4 sizes, you would totally die. Like that would kill you.
That is not what I would say. Not how I roll. A gross misinterpretation from my wife.
Okay. Danielle, what is your number 4 favorite Christmas movie?
Well, so both of the ones Leah has mentioned have been wholesome. This is far from wholesome, but it is hilarious.
Whoa. Let's smack a parent warning. PG-13. We're about to go PG-13.
And some would argue it's not a Christmas movie, but I say it is. Bridget Jones's Diary starts and ends at Christmas time.
Okay.
But it follows her throughout the year. She's trying to it starts off, she's like afraid she's it's so funny. She's afraid she's going to die single, and because she's single, no one will find her and she'll be eaten by dogs.
What?
Yeah.
Is that a normal female word?
I don't recall being worried about that, but I suppose some people maybe. Anyway, she has like 2 love interests through the year. Yeah. One of them is kind of a jerk. One of them is pretty sweet. And it ends up she's kissing the sweet one in the street at Christmas time again.
Now,
there's lots of hilarity in the middle.
Is this movie the one that's based off of like an old
Yeah, it's like off of a Shakespearean play,
okay.
I think. Yes,
Yeah.
but I can't remember which one.
I feel like Leah has things to say. Do you have something to say? Do you like this movie too?
It's been a long time since I've seen it.
Yeah.
It's been a while.
Okay. Yeah. I have to take your guys' word for it because I don't.
Have you not seen it?
No, I'm pretty sure I sat through it at some point because I do remember you liked those movies. And yeah. I distinctly remember, I think by the time we were together, how many of those were there? Were there 3?
I don't know. I think
3 movies?
I think I saw the first 2 maybe. I don't think I saw the third one.
Because I think I remember seeing one in a theater with you. But I don't know. Maybe it wasn't. Maybe we just watched it on video. But yeah, okay. Like I said, it's just whatever's your favorite. It doesn't have to be the most quality.
It's not wholesome, but
cinema.
It's hilarious.
It's not wholesome.
It's still good.
Well, and not everything on my list is wholesome. But my number 4 is 1954 Irving Berlin musical White Christmas, starring Bing Crosby, Danny Kaye, Rosemary Clooney, and Vera Ellen. Released in VistaVision, colored, not black and white.
But not Technicolor.
Not Technicolor. Of course, the movie is about a pair of ex-soldiers who have gone on to become a famous variety show act together. And through some misadventures, they find themselves in Vermont at the inn, a struggling inn manned by their former commanding officer. That it's struggling because it's not snowing for the season there, which apparently they make mention of in the movie. Vermont is America's winter playground. I wouldn't know. I've never been to Vermont.
I mean, I would assume, but
I went, but it was summer.
Yeah. And so they decide to put on their big show at their former commanding officer's inn to try and help his business. And of course, there's romance and misadventures and all these things going on, and lots of wonderful music and dancing. And this is one of those ones where it's probably strange, not for dudes. to have a favorite Christmas movie list and this be one of them. My family, this is one of these ones where my mom loves this movie, and I just remember watching it every Christmas. And it just came to be one of those movies that really just is attached to my Christmas memories. It's just one of those movies where when I watch it, I feel like a little kid watching it. And I have all the songs memorized and I can sing along to them. And maybe that's lame, but...
No, I used to kind of dislike this movie, actually. I thought it was boring, but since we've been married and you watch it every year, and now our oldest has watched it like 7 times this year already. It's kind of become that way for me too now. I just kind of, it feels like Christmas. There's a nostalgia.
Apparently this movie was enormously popular when it came out. Did 12 million in theatrical rentals, which I don't know how that worked back in 1954, would have been equal to $116 million in 2020, making it the top moneymaker of 1954 by a wide margin. It is the highest grossing musical at the time. It was the highest grossing musical. Overall, the film grossed $30 million at the domestic box office, which for back then, $30 million in 1954, that's pretty impressive. Rotten Tomatoes, it's 77% on Rotten Tomatoes, and I want to see the critics who gave it a negative review and ask them where their heart is.
Call them jabronis.
Like, how dare you, sir?
But 30 million, that's like McAllister money.
All right. Cody, what's your number 3 favorite Christmas movie?
So, like 3 through 5 for me are not must watches, but if they happen in the Christmas season, I'm having a great Christmas. So like number 3 for me was going to be White Christmas, but I was flip-flopping between that one and the one I'm going to substitute in because you had White Christmas on your list and you did an elegant job of discussing it. So, backup plan, Batman Returns. Yes.
Danielle has a confused look on your face. We did determine that Batman Returns is a Christmas movie. You'll hear that in the next part of our pod.
You will.
When we discuss what is and is not Christmas movies with Scott Patrick Dillon. Stay tuned for that, by the way.
Yes. And by the way, Batman Returns, great movie. It's the second in the Tim Burton Batman movies. I mean, if it was directed by someone else, it might be an all-time classic, but it's still great. And you have the Penguin, which is one of my favorite undervalued Batman villains, and trying to mess up Christmas in Gotham. And then, of course, here comes Bruce Wayne, a.k.a. Batman, and he saves the day, as a Batman does. So, or the night, if you will.
I mean, yeah. I'll get into this in the second part of the pod, but Tim Burton, I will say yes. I believe this to be a Christmas movie. It has enough Christmas in it. There's someone put a nice picture, a nice still frame of Batman soaring over like what looks like a Christmas town.
Oh yeah,
and it's like, yeah, this is definitely a Christmas movie.
It's all about the Christmas, and thank goodness Michael Keaton was there.
It was not one of my favorites, but the original Tim Burton Batman, not one of my favorites.
Although I lean towards Michael Keaton doing the best job at being both Bruce and Batman.
Okay.
Because it's hard to find that balance. There's some people that do Batman really great and are awful at Bruce, and some that do Bruce really great and are awful at Batman.
Is it fair to say Michael Keaton might be the best actor who's ever played Batman?
Ooh, that's tough.
Even though, like, with Christian Bale, you have a guy who's won Oscars, right?
You have Christian Bale, you have Val Kilmer that immediately followed him, and you have George Clooney.
Have they all won Academy Awards? Every one of those guys?
I would think so.
Because I could make a pretty good case that Michael Keaton's a better actor than those three.
It's hard for me.
He just takes different roles.
It's hard for me to put anyone above Val Kilmer. Like, I think Val's just difficult to work with.
Your Val Kilmer fandom is well known.
And
Yeah.
it should be. Like, for everyone.
It's an obsession. It's insane. It's an obsession.
Tell us more about his Val Kilmer obsession. Why Val Kilmer?
Val Kilmer and Nick Cage. Come on.
Do you think Iceman was the good guy of Top Gun? Do you think he got a bad rap in Top Gun?
I think he drew the short straw in Top Gun. Like, oh my goodness, they should have given him way more lines than they did. They had top-notch talent doing like some rando's job. I mean, quite literally.
Well, Val Kilmer will always have a special place in my heart for playing Doc Holliday in Tombstone.
Tombstone, he was phenomenal in.
Unbelievable.
The Saint, he was amazing in.
If you're making a list of the best roles of all time, like actors who just were bigger than the movie in a certain role, that role, Doc Holliday in Tombstone by Val Kilmer, is top 5 ever. Just incredible performance.
And look at who he's up against in that movie. I mean, there's a Kurt Russell. There's a Sam Elliott. Mm-hmm. There's a bunch of other people in the movie. And quite literally, he stands above them.
Yeah. And Sam Elliott, he's good in any Western. If Sam Elliott is in your Western, it's automatic must-see for me.
Yeah.
Like, that's why I need to watch the Yellowstone reboot or prequel or whatever it is.
1883, yeah.
Just because Sam Elliott's in it.
As you should.
It's amazing.
I haven't watched it yet, but Sam Elliott's in it, so I will. I even watched that weird Ashton Kutcher show on Netflix, The Ranch, with Sam Elliott in it, and Sam Elliott was delightful. Who knew he could play comedy? Sam Elliott did. Okay, who's next? Leah, your number 3 favorite movie, Christmas movie.
So it's not wholesome.
All
Does that
right.
make you feel better?
Ooh, the ladies.
Okay, so number 3 is
Magic
Four
Mike.
Christmases. No. No.
4 Christmases.
4 Christmases.
Now, listen, if I had an honorable mention spot in my top 5, it would have been 4 Christmases. We love 4 Christmases.
Okay, I mean, let's be honest.
It's very PG-13.
It
though,
is.
Yeah.
Yes, but Vince Vaughn is the Joseph in the nativity scene. We never knew we always needed.
Yeah, in what is played as like a ridiculous church. Like the pastor is very like, he's like a mega church, like
Yes.
everything bad you would think about him, just a bad
Everything.
mega church pastor.
What's the song? Wasn't it like "Rock Me, Baby Jesus" or something? Or something terrible. But when he's up on that stage and he's like, "Woman, swaddle that baby," and then he just loses. But I feel like when I brought Cody to my first family Christmas, that was it. Like that first scene when he takes him to meet his dad, and it's so chaotic. And she's like, "Oh my gosh, that's what it was like for him." Because I have a big family. I mean, we have a lot of people. And he just sat there like, "Oh my gosh." Like he was just overwhelmed. I know he was.
Yeah.
But thankfully he fit in. Thankfully.
I think I felt that way the first time. So Danielle's family, like Danielle grew up in like the nuclear family and has, they have Christmases together. And then like, I remember the first time she was going to come to my family's for Christmas. I was so worried because I was like, oh man, we're total rednecks.
There was a bit of an argument. Well, I think that's why I like that movie though, because every family has their own form of crazy, right? Yeah.
Well,
the whole see that play out in the different groups.
Yeah, the whole point of the movie is they're trying to they go on vacation every Christmas and they lie to all their families.
Yes.
So they have so Vince Vaughn's parents are divorced. So there's like 2 sets, and her parents are not, right? Am I remembering that right, or are they split up too?
They're split.
Okay, so yeah, there's 4 sets of families, hence the name, because both their parents are split, and they're all nuts in their own way. But yeah.
But I still think it's just funny and it's fun. Like I don't know. I just think it's a great movie. It's
Yeah, it's for belly laughs. That one cannot. There's not much that beats that one. Every time the baby
Yeah, the
spits
baby,
up,
yeah.
and Vince Vaughn goes, oh, blah, he starts dry heaving.
It's just a good movie. Have you
Such a funny
seen it?
movie.
Yeah, it's so funny.
That's a great pick. It makes me sad I didn't put it in my top 5,
It's a good one.
but it's number 6 for sure. All right, Danielle, what's your number 3 favorite Christmas movie of all time?
I'm going to go with Home Alone, the original.
The OG Home Alone.
For the longest time, it was a thing to say a lovely cheese pizza all to myself at our house. No, that's one that I just like. I think my little brothers watch that movie like once a day for probably 5 years. So it's just, again, the nostalgia.
You cannot argue with the legacy of Home Alone because I believe if people are still quoting your movie like 30 years later, that has a legacy. I mean, people, if someone came up to you and said, "Merry Christmas, you filthy animal," you'd know exactly what they were talking. I mean, to think about that came out that long ago and that's still a part of pop culture is kind of amazing.
Yeah, but we did just rewatch it like last week, and I was kind of like surprised. I guess I hadn't actually sat through it in a long time. I was kind of surprised. They're like terrible to him in the beginning. Like the whole family's like awful to him, and then like you mentioned earlier, like yeah, these wet bandits would have died. There's all kinds of ridiculousness.
What I love most about 80s movies is that it shows just how terrible parents were to their kids and how much they didn't care.
I was going to say, throughout like this Christmas movie list, there's been an awful lot of bad parenting and bullying, and then boom, someone has to be the hero.
That's what makes a good Christmas story, Cody.
It is.
Yeah, we watched it. Yeah, the other thing that sticks out about this movie is even though it has retained its status in pop culture, it's one of those movies. Boy, it just does not. The story does not hold up in the current state of technology. Like kids today watch that movie and go, "Well, this could never happen." Why would they have let? I mean, everyone has cell phones. Everyone it just couldn't happen. And you notice that sticks out like a sore thumb when you rewatch it now because you're just like, yeah.
Well, and even like the storm, whatever, knocked out the phone lines. But even like by the end, when they're actually trying to rob the house, like the phone lines are back up because he calls the cops while they're in. Like it just doesn't make sense. But it's still
but
still worth
you have
it.
to have the scene with John Candy and the Kenosha Kickers because that steals the movie. That's an incredible sequence. Incredible. I know Cody has a love for John Candy in that movie. Did he do that for free? Was that one of those
Saving
for
all
free?
my insight for later on in my list.
Oh, okay. You're going to talk about that later. Okay. We'll move on. My number 3 favorite Christmas movie is A Christmas Story about a young boy who wants a Red Ryder BB gun for Christmas. And this is one of those movies that I always liked. So it came out in 1985. And by 1985 standards, it felt old fashioned. Like it's supposed to take you back to a time long. I think that's why older people like it, like Christmas Story, because it reminded them of the 50s and 60s and just an earlier time. I think it's supposed to feel a bit old fashioned. And even though it's always been a movie I like to watch at Christmas, I think it doesn't get its top 5 status for me until it starts getting played 24 hours on Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. The 24 Hours of A Christmas Story, which started in 1997 was the first year they did 24 Hours of A Christmas Story. And it has become one of those things where now I associate so many memories with it. Of, first off being somebody in his 20s who was just staying up late on Christmas Eve, just having good alone time, not doing anything 20-year-olds might do, 23-year-olds might do before they were Christians. Staying up late, But even later in life, when you're getting presents ready for Christmas morning, and you're getting your stuff ready in your home for your kids, and that's on the TV, I just think I associate a lot of Christmas memories with that movie, and I just think it's wonderful. It's just a wonderful movie, and it's still funny. Holds up great. The comedy in it. He had yellow teeth. I swear, yellow teeth.
It is a funny movie, although it did not make my list.
Yeah.
So I'm out on this discussion.
Yeah. You don't like it though, but
I do like it, but it's not like a must watch for me during the season.
Okay.
It was a classic in our house growing up. We watched it probably 5 times every every Christmas Eve.
I might be just old enough to catch the end of like that era where I remember it feeling like that as a kid, like the bully and the toady. In our world, you were either a bully, a toady, or one of the nameless rabble. Like that. I felt like that was a triple dog dares and such. I can remember kids getting triple dog dared. Anyways, that's my number 3, Christmas Story. I love that he's like still around too. The young kid who played the main role in that movie.
Wasn't he in a Stephen King?
Peter
series?
Billingsley.
Yes, he was in a Stephen King series, wasn't he?
Was he?
Yes, he played him. Oh my goodness, which one was it?
He was in The Dirt Bike Kid, Death Valley. He was also, let's see, what else was he in?
Or am I thinking? I'm thinking of somebody else.
He didn't really. I'm
thinking of the guy from 16 Candles.
Oh, okay.
That's what I'm thinking of.
Yeah, he parlays his popularity from A Christmas Story into a 3-movie run over the next 6 years. The Dirt Bike Kid, Rooskies, and Beverly Hills Brats. So
Oh yeah.
The career did not take off like Macaulay Culkin. But then he makes a comeback as Ming Ming the Elf in Elf. And he's in Elf, the Will Ferrell Christmas movie, which I will talk about later. But it's a common thread here that he's in another great Christmas movie. He's also been in The Breakup. He's in Iron Man. He's in 4 Christmases. He's a ticket agent at the airport, I believe, in 4 Christmases. So he's got some Christmas movie cred. Does Peter Billingsley?
Wow.
All right, Cody, your number 2 favorite Christmas.
So this is a must watch.
All right,
and
I'll be the judge of that.
Danielle's number 3, Home Alone 1. It made the list.
You have Home Alone 1 and 2 in your top 5.
Yeah, because you should watch them back to back. So yes,
Why do you love
Feels
Home
like a bit
Alone 1?
much.
Why do you love Home Alone 1?
Okay, so the Wet Bandits.
I love how you said that. Like this is genius writing.
It is genius in its humor. Those 2 characters alone, like, deserve all the Oscars ever.
I mean, because Harry's right. It's a dumb idea. You shouldn't do that. He basically says that at the end of the first movie.
Yeah,
you idiot.
And then, I mean, you have the old guy that everyone's afraid of, and turns out he's actually kind of a nice guy, and he saves the day. Kevin, you first get to see him do all the traps and all that fun stuff. And, I mean, it just is a wholesome movie, except for one scene which makes it hilarious and pure comedic gold, and you hinted at it earlier, and it's John Candy, the Kenosha Kickers, especially when they're on the van on the way home, and he's talking to Kevin's mom, and they're talking about the resiliency of kids, and he's like, oh, kids are resilient. One time my wife and I left our son at a funeral home because we were so distraught. And when we finally came to our senses, it was several hours later, and he was there alone with the body. It only took him like 6 to 8 weeks to come out of it. Kids are resilient.
He gets that like far off, wistful look, like poor little guy.
Yeah.
I love that he's trying to make her feel better, but then you're just like, oh, good Lord.
And he's like, well, you asked. And she's like, I know, I regret it. And, like, so he improv most of his lines in the whole movie, and he only got paid like $100 for it.
You never heard of us? Indianapolis Polka? Polka, polka, polka?
I mean, quite literally, this dude was hilarious. Give him all the money.
That deserves to be in the top 5 just for that scene. That scene is amazing. They're riding in the back of a U-Haul.
They are.
That's not safe. That's not legal.
I also in the
That's
movie
human trafficking.
it would be. But I also like the fact that you get to see cardboard cutout Michael Jordan rocking around the Christmas tree. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of like nostalgia moments in that movie. And so, yeah, like it deserves to be in everyone's top 2. And how dare you all for not mentioning it yet?
If I had 7, it would have been my number 7.
Ouch.
What? Listen, Home Alone hits me when I'm a little older. When I tell you my number 1, you'll understand. My number 1 hits me in the same place year-wise as Home Alone hits you.
Okay.
As far as age. When did Home Alone come out?
I believe 1990. Yep.
Oh, but you weren't even born.
I was born.
You were like a half a year old.
I was a year and a half old. Thank you.
So it hits
but
you,
like I grew up watching it every year.
This is a movie that hits you very young.
Yes.
And so by the time that comes out, I'm 14. And I enjoyed it. It just doesn't have the early childhood. Like I think a lot of my Christmas movies, they just had to take hold earlier.
And it launches the career of a Kieran Culkin.
Well, that's Macaulay's brother.
Yeah. Well, I'm just saying this launches his career.
Well, we can have a real discussion about that because I think Macaulay launches his career. He has no career if he's not Macaulay Culkin's brother.
Or being in Home Alone. I could make the case that Home Alone 2 launches Donald Trump into the presidency. So,
also a stretch.
Home Alone doing miracle jobs for everyone.
We will revisit the Kieran Culkin stands on his own discussion at a later date. I don't think we could take much time for that, but I'm just saying if he's not Macaulay Culkin's brother and Macaulay Culkin's not a megastar at that point, I'm not sure we ever hear about Kieran.
How much money do we think the McAllisters poured into Donald Trump's campaign?
Oh, they were totally Republicans. There's no doubt about that, right?
Yeah, they're in the Midwest and
they're
rich.
Wealthy. Those guys are definitely MAGAs.
They're pouring in a few doll hairs to Don, this fictional family, yes.
Or they're angry because he didn't do anything to help their son.
He did.
He lent moral support.
He pointed the way to the elevator.
I mean, he made
so helpful.
He made Home Alone great again.
He literally didn't do anything to help him. How is that helping, Cody?
Is he in his hotel?
Yeah, he's at the Trump's hotel, yes. And I mean, literally runs into him, and Donald's like, this is the way you need to go. That's helpful.
I need to go back and watch that movie. It's been too long. It's been too long since I've seen that movie. Okay. Leah, what is your number 2 favorite Christmas movie of all time?
The Family Stone.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I think people forget about that one. And it is, I will watch it every time it's on TV, Netflix, on anything, or I'll just get out my DVD.
I've seen it, and I'm trying to remember. I don't know that I thought it was a bad movie. I think I thought it was a good movie, but it didn't give me good feelings. It gave me like family strife makes me a little
makes you
on
angry.
edge. Yeah. And there's isn't there like a lot of family drama in that?
Well, so they all go home for Christmas And obviously you can tell there's something going on with the mom, obviously.
Yeah.
And then nobody likes the brother's girlfriend.
Doesn't she end up with a different brother by the end of
Yes.
Okay, yeah, that's what I thought.
And it has the better Owen brother, because I don't like what's it? Owen Wilson brother. There we go. I like Luke Wilson better.
You don't like Owen?
No.
Get out.
I can't do
Wow.
Wow.
I can't do it.
Shocking Owen Wilson slander.
I like Luke Wilson way better than I like Owen Wilson.
I appreciate both of them. I appreciate both.
I just think he's really funny in this movie, especially when he gets that jacket. He really likes the jacket. He wants it.
That sounded just like him.
I
That
know.
was even the accent. That was great.
So I just think it's just a really good movie, and it's really sad. I still cry watching it, but I mean, the mom was right. She wasn't right for him, but again,
Yeah, they're really
a lot
mean.
of growth.
They're really mean to Sarah Jessica Parker.
Terrible, but she's very uptight, and but it gets better as the movie goes on. But it's really sad because mom's cancer comes back, and she's not doing well, and everybody's starting to figure that out. But I don't know. I just really like it.
Yeah.
My
Okay.
favorite. I like it.
I'm a fan of a good sad Christmas. The Family Man is sort of sad at the end. I kind of like a sad note in a Christmas movie. Although in The Family Man, it's supposed to be a happy ending. It ends in the airport where he's tracked down his former girlfriend who has no idea what he's talking about because he had this glimpse. But I always think about the kids. I was like, yeah, but the kids don't exist.
Right.
Like, this is so sad.
Yeah.
But yeah. So I like a good sad portion of a Christmas movie occasionally. Yeah.
I mean, it's sad, but they all are happy in the end, with the exception of mom's gone, but they all end up where they were supposed to
Oh,
be.
she dies? I don't remember that part.
Yeah.
I completely, for some reason, I thought it was Jennifer Aniston in this movie. Not Sarah. I don't remember this movie at all.
Yeah. It's not,
Apparently, we should
you guys
rewatch.
should definitely rewatch it. It's good.
I know I've seen it.
I remember
just don't
being so
remember it.
uncomfortable watching it for her.
For her.
Because they're
Me
so
too,
mean.
because it's
yeah.
so bad.
Yeah.
But it gets better. They like her by the end.
Yeah. She totally ends up with a completely different brother.
Yeah, she
By the
does.
end of the movie. All right. We'll have to rewatch that. It's been a long time. Danielle, what is your number 2 favorite Christmas movie of all time?
I'm going to go with A Christmas Carol.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah.
I always liked the Scrooge story and the ghosts of Christmas past and present and future.
It's a classic.
Yeah.
Is there a reason you like it? No? Well,
don't know.
Well,
know. I just
probably attached to your memories
Yeah.
in some way.
I think a lot of my choices are based on nostalgia. Like I just like the story. I enjoy it. I enjoy the kind of like for the same, I mean, The Family Man, I would say, has similarities, like in that just he's seeing what could have been different about his life or whatever, and it affects a change in his behavior, and he sees how he should be different moving forward and starts treating people differently the next day, immediately.
I mean, being an 80s kid, my favorite version of that story is Scrooged with Bill Murray, which is kind of like an updated version, also starring Bobcat Goldthwait, which, under the radar favorite for me. But also, I remember the old black and white version starring Alastair Sims. And there's something about seeing that old black and white Christmas Carol during the Christmas season that reminds me of like a weekend, Saturday afternoon, and catching that movie on TV, because that's how you had to catch stuff back then. You couldn't just stream it. So you would just be flipping through the channels and be like, oh, it's Christmas Carol. And I caught it near the beginning. Yeah. And we're going to sit here and watch this, But it's interesting to see like what different age people, what version of Christmas Carol is their favorite.
A Muppets Christmas Carol.
For a lot of people my age, especially, yeah.
A Muppets or Mickey's.
Muppet. My kids love Mickey Christmas Carol.
For me personally, Saved by the Bell. They do it on the Saved by the Bell, and AC Slater comes out and he's all like, "Mommy, Daddy, this is Leah." That was a halfway joke, but I was going to say.
Is Scrooge in this version? Is Scrooge Zach?
Was it Zach? I think it was Zach.
Zach.
Or was it Screech?
Because we have discussed
remember.
how Zach is trash.
Zach is trash.
Isn't this the one with the homeless family?
Okay, it's that one.
Yeah.
It is that one.
And Zach is super trash in this one.
Super trash. The worst.
Yeah. Where he's helping the homeless dude just because his daughter's hot.
Yes.
Why is that a Hollywood trope? We discussed this, but why is that a Hollywood trope where the homeless guy has a hot daughter? That never happens in the real world. You know how many old homeless guys I befriended in my youth? Never happens.
How many times do you befriend a homeless person and then meet their family? Like, that doesn't happen. Does
Usually,
it?
in my experience, they're a family all to themselves. Lots of voices hanging around in a lot of those homeless people's, because most of them have mental issues, not, the common narrative of, oh, they just don't want to work. No, that's not really what's happening there. Yeah. Do you have a favorite version of Christmas Carol, Cody?
I already said mine.
Did you?
Yeah. I said it was
Muppets. Oh, Muppet
between
Christmas Carol. Yeah.
or Muppets and Mickey's.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very good. All right, it's time for my number 2 favorite Christmas movie of all time. This would be the newest movie that is a favorite of mine, and it is Elf, starring Will Ferrell, 2003 comedy, directed by Jon Favreau. This was a movie that I really wanted to not put in my Christmas pantheon for years. I wanted it to not be my favorite, but I find that it's just so darn charming. And Will Ferrell, originally Chris Farley and Jim Carrey were early candidates to play Buddy the elf. I cannot imagine this movie without Will Ferrell.
Mm-hmm. I agree with that.
I could 100% imagine it with Chris Farley.
No.
Oh, yeah.
No.
Oh, it would be...
It becomes a completely different movie at that point.
Okay, so I will save my criticism till you are done explaining why you like it so much.
Okay, well, I love this movie based solely on Will Ferrell, basically. I mean, the story's fine, but Will Ferrell is just so immensely sold out and plays naive perfect. Will Ferrell's strength is playing like the naive... impossibly naive guy, right? He does it in Old School. He does it in just all over the place. When Will Ferrell's at his best, he's like emotionally stunted, which in this movie, obviously, he thinks he's an elf. He's so emotionally stunted, but he does it so convincingly. Like when he's eating gum off the underside of the subway rail, and he gets hit by the cab because he's not watching where he's going, crossing a street in New York City, which is probably like he didn't die.
Playing in the doors and...
Yeah, taking like the menus from the people out on the streets for the restaurant. Thank you. Believing that the best coffee in the world sign, like going in and congratulating them because he's so happy for them. I mean, just impossibly Will Ferrell. And just really makes that movie for me. And the whole conceit of the movie of him being like a fish out of water just works for me. I just love every bit of it. And then it probably would work even if it wasn't a Christmas movie, even if he built this story like it was something completely different, just some fish out of water story starring Will Ferrell. But the fact that it is a Christmas movie just makes it extra special.
So I'm about to get all the flack from all the millennials.
85% on Rotten Tomatoes just before you criticize it.
So what Nick Cage is in every Nick Cage movie, Will Ferrell is in every Will Ferrell movie. I mean, quite literally, he plays the same dude.
Fair enough,
over
but it works.
So does Nick Cage.
He's eminently more charming than Nick Cage.
And yet, like, once you said Chris Farley was one of the people that was early on a candidate for this role, I mean, I think back to Tommy Boy, fat guy in the little coat. I mean, literally, that persona is so cheerful and naive that him being an elf would work. So
no, it wouldn't. I'm going to tell you why.
And, like,
and you're going to agree with me.
Billy Madison,
and I would
when
know.
he's the bus driver.
No, I would know
and
because
with
I'm
the
overweight.
penguin.
Because I'm overweight, he would not have been as endearing, Chris Farley, as Buddy the Elf, because some people would have been repulsed by him.
I'm
You know
creeped
that,
out by.
and I know that. Listen, the bus driver in Billy Madison is repulsive.
I'm just going to say, Will Ferrell looks like Big Bird.
Tommy Boy, Chris Farley's character is endearing, yes, but he's supposed to be a little repulsive because of the way he is. He's not Will Ferrell because we are sizist in this country. Chris Farley could not have been endearing in that role as Will Ferrell.
I think he would have.
Chris Farley couldn't have said the line, he's an angry elf. And it wouldn't have been as funny. It wouldn't have been as funny as when tall, slim Will Ferrell says it.
Yeah, it would have been a lot more of Chris Farley falling down because that's what bigger guys like me have to do to be funny. It's not fair. I'm not saying it's right. I'm just saying it would have been a different movie.
But yeah, no, this movie doesn't make my top 10 of Christmas movies.
Not even your top 10?
Wow.
It might make number 11.
It doesn't make my top 10 either, but not because of Will Ferrell. I love Will Ferrell, and I don't see Chris Farley in it at all. Could you imagine him being Buddy the Elf? What's your favorite color? No, he couldn't say that. No, Chris Farley couldn't say that.
You all are going to get cheerful, funny clips of Chris Farley sent to you on the reg now, where you'll be like, oh, he was being cute and innocent. Like, quite literally.
Man, I thought this was a slam dunk. I did
Think
not know
again.
there was going to be this much opposition. Listen, in 2017, Fandango rated Elf the best Christmas film of the 21st century. Digital Spy calls it the number 3 Christmas movie of all time. Total Film calls it the number 3 Christmas movie of all time. Entertainment Weekly, the number 4 Christmas movie of all time.
I watch it when it comes on. I'll watch it every Christmas.
They must not have watched Die Hard.
Why do you guys hate Christmas?
I gotta go back to Chris Farley though, because I love Chris Farley, the classic SNL, Chippendales.
I was going to say, the
man.
Chippendale skit, he acts bashful, shy, cute.
No, he doesn't
and funny.
act that way. He cartoons that way though,
But there's
right?
a part-
Because he is always the same character, just like Nick Cage.
Yeah, but that's a perfect example because he's supposed to also be repulsive in that. Remember, part of the joke.
Yeah.
Part of the joke of that is he's
Patrick
next
Swayze's
to
all-
Patrick Swayze, who's like, look, I'm confident enough in my sexuality to say he's super hot. He's super sexy in that, and they make fun of it. He's like, oh no, if you're picking me, it'll only be because his body is so bad. You're supposed to, it's a joke. They joke
is.
about his size.
So it adds another layer to what would make the story great.
Pun intended.
Ayo. But I mean, literally, evidently there's some beef on the set of Elf because Jon Favreau said, I won't make a second one if Will Ferrell's involved.
Yeah, that's one of the weirder things that has come out is that apparently Favreau and Will Ferrell not buddies.
Yeah.
Which is weird because that movie is highly successful and they both get credit for it. I mean, they're the two major reasons. Favreau goes on, that's one of his first really high profile directing jobs. And he kind of parlays that into Iron Man.
Yeah.
And now he just does all sorts of things. And Will Ferrell, of course, this is right at the beginning of Will Ferrell's, just a hugely successful run in movies, comedy movies. Yeah, interesting. Also, the movie studio wanted badly to do a sequel, and Will Ferrell turned down a truckload of money, maybe partially because he didn't want to work with Favreau, and Favreau didn't want to work with him, and the movie studio wanted them both back. But they backed up the bank truck to Will Ferrell, and he was like, no, thanks. So we don't have a sequel.
Thank you.
Okay. Cody, what's your favorite Christmas movie ever?
Christmas Vacation. Mm-hmm. Okay. So, I fall in love with characters in Christmas movies quite a bit. Like if you didn't catch it before, the Wet and Sticky Bandits are huge hits with me. And in this one, it's Cousin Eddie. Like he really steals a lot of scenes. Now, as I have gotten older, there are scenes that are like way more meaningful to me. Like when Clark is locked up in the attic and has to watch the old family footage. That tugs on the heartstrings.
Yeah, Ray Charles' Spirit of Christmas playing.
Yes.
Wonderful scene.
And then, like, I relate to trying to get all the Christmas lights to work and to show off for the family and to make a big deal out of myself. But yeah, also, there's just some really funny lines in this one. Like when he gets the annual membership to the Jelly of the Month Club. That's the gift that keeps on giving all year round, Clark.
Classic lines, yes.
And then, let's see, Brian Doyle Murray is in it. And he is Bill Murray's brother.
Mm-hmm. Bill Murray's brother, yeah.
Also, Mr. Krabs and SpongeBob. That's a random factoid you get, but he also plays his role really well. So just a shout out to him.
Yeah.
Which character is he?
He's the boss.
Brian Doyle Murray
okay,
is Clark's boss.
Yeah. The one that's like, you got a bonus?
Yeah.
Because they weren't supposed to get bonuses.
There's so many things in that movie that are so planned out and well done. Like when he brings the present to him. And if you look in the wall, all the presents are identical, which means that like they're all trying to suck up. They've all heard through the grapevine what he likes.
Yep.
And so they've all gotten him the same present. And there's just these little, what should be throwaway lines, or even those are funny. Because he says he's not knowing who he is. He's always messing up names. He's like, it's me, Clark W. Griswold. He's like, well, put it over there, greaseball. It's so funny. Everything's funny. He picks up his phone. He's like, give me somebody. And give me somebody while I'm waiting.
Yeah, there's great moments. Even the ant is funny in it. I love the prayer. Yeah,
yeah. Yes, also great. Every scene in that movie has something. Just something hilarious. I agree so, wholeheartedly with
in
that
case
selection.
this is on other people's list, I will stop my review right there. So you got the gist of why I like it.
Yeah.
I mean, Chevy Chase is good, but like anytime Cousin Eddie's on the screen, Cousin Eddie is stealing the scene.
But maybe the only sad part about this movie is this is probably until Community, this is the end of Chevy Chase being funny.
Oh, so
what does he do after this?
I would then venture and just say Vegas Vacation.
Oh, no.
Although it's not because of him. It is because of Cousin Eddie again when they're doing the Hoover Dam tour. That whole scene's hilarious where they're talking about all the pictures you can take. And then Cousin Eddie's like, where can you get the bait? Although he says a different word in front of the bait because they're talking about the Hoover Dam. And so, like, it's funny. It's great.
I'll have to watch it again. It has been a long time since I watched Vegas Vacation, but I remember being very disappointed.
But yes, Chevy Chase's career goes down the toilet after this. Unless Fletch came out after
No,
this.
Fletch was before.
Okay, Fletch is great.
Maybe even Fletch 2 comes out before Christmas Vacation.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Was Chevy Chase funny in Community? I don't really remember him.
Yes.
bringing that
he was
up.
hilarious.
Immensely hilarious.
Maybe I need to rewatch
in
that
a
show.
very insensitive way.
Very insensitive.
But some of my biggest laughs in season 1 of Community are just at how insensitive and because I imagine Chevy Chase is like that in real life.
Absolutely. Zero doubt.
Like kind of racist, kind of, is back
Absolutely
when we could
terrible.
still laugh at insensitivity and not
Oh my
cancel
gosh.
people. Okay, Leah, what's your favorite Christmas movie ever?
Polar Express.
Wow. Okay.
Absolutely.
How old are you?
35.
Okay.
But it was also my favorite book. I liked it as a book.
When did so when did the book come out, I wonder?
I don't know when the book is.
Because this is one of those things where I feel like I'm definitely too old to understand the magic of it.
Yeah, we were just talking about that the other day.
Because my kids, our younger kids like it.
1985.
So that's when the book came out. Wow. I see. I'd never heard of it. That's
Really?
because, I didn't read apparently when I was a kid.
And see, I would rather read than watch TV.
Oh,
I
yeah.
read constantly.
I was a TV watcher.
Yeah, I was always reading, and I loved that book when I was little.
What
So-
what is it you love about the movie?
Okay, so
Because I have a specific issue I'd like to bring up, but go ahead.
that's great. Well, good. I'd
Yeah.
love it. Let's hear it. Well, after I say
Yes,
what I want to say.
tell me why you love it.
The director did come out and say that they did not intentionally have any sort of like biblical undertone when they released this movie. But
That's not what I heard, but yeah, go ahead.
But I feel like there is, if you really watch it, because the main character, the little boy that gets on the train, obviously is struggling with what he believes. That's very apparent right out
Yeah.
the gates. Right
Josh
out the gate.
Groban says as much at the end.
Yes, and
When you believe.
right.
Yeah.
And I just think it's very. I just think it's very powerful because I think that's especially with like non-believers in the world today, and I think that in our walk as Christians, faith is very much believing in what you can't see, and I think that is what you see in this movie is with him because he can't see it. He doesn't see it. I mean, when they're going on that train and he sees in that stores that train or that Santa's bent over and he sees that it's not real because he can see the wiring in the Santa, so he gets frustrated again. But on that train ride, like small things keep happening that give him a little bit more faith and a little bit more faith and a little bit more faith. So, I mean, throughout our lives, God manifests himself through kindness through others, small acts like that. And I think that you kind of see that through this movie. So I just think it's really powerful, and I like that.
So the metaphor were you the one telling me this, Danielle? That the metaphor for, do you want to explain that? That the Trinity is.
So yeah, I had heard. Yeah, I don't think I've ever even read the book, but yeah, I had heard that the
train
Santa's
conductor
supposed to be like God, the conductor is supposed to be like Jesus, and the guy on top of the train is supposed to be like the Holy Spirit.
The hobo. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yes.
Dave's issue. Well,
Okay. Are you ready for my issue? Here's my issue, especially with all that in place. But even without that, if that's not a thing, if that's not what they intended, I find it really strange that Tom Hanks is all the characters, and you can tell it's him. And then Santa doesn't even look like or sound anything like him. Now it is him, but they make him almost unrecognizable, which to me, I don't know. I don't know why they did that.
Right.
Like, because I didn't think so. When I was watching the movie, I was like, why did they get someone different to play Santa?
Right.
It's clearly Tom Hanks is Santa Claus.
Right.
Do you think Jesus and God sound the same?
They probably sound like Tom Hanks in my head. If God doesn't sound like Tom Hanks, then what are we doing? Or James Earl Jones. Maybe James Earl Jones.
That's what I think when I think about God. I think James Earl Jones, and he's out in a cornfield.
Yeah. Can you imagine, being on the new earth with Jesus and being like, hey, can you say this is CNN again? This is CNN. Yeah. I recognize like the magical place that has for a lot of people, that movie. Because we recently watched it, and my kids watched it. We took a Polar Express train ride in Branson.
I want to do it, and I'm an adult.
Well, they make it up. They do it right. There was even a guy sitting on top of the train when we were boarding.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Totally. Yeah, they had all the parts played out. The conductor comes in, Santa comes in at the end.
You get a bell.
You get a bell.
You get a ticket.
The ticket looks identical.
Yeah, they punch something in the ticket. Maybe it was just like your initial, I think.
Yeah, they punch your initial because they can't do it as good as animated Tom Hanks. But yeah, I think that's a good choice.
I just really like it. I just like how you can see his faith grow throughout the movie, and then you just finally see that he believes again. I just think it's really, I think it's a powerful movie. I'm
going to admit to you right now too, that Josh Groban song at the end.
Oh yeah,
gives me the feels.
I like the music. The music is my alarm that wakes me up.
Oh,
that song.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
I just can't with the Josh Groban.
The Groban?
But I like at the very end because he's like narrating the story, right? and then you like fall into the story, and then at the end it goes back and he's telling it still. I like how he says that eventually his sister couldn't hear the bell ringing anymore, but he still could.
Yes.
I like that even as an adult, he still believed.
Yes.
Yeah. It's good stuff.
If you believe, you receive.
Yeah. It wouldn't be
Name it and claim it.
as a sentimental thing, it wouldn't be in my top 10, but if I'm just judging a movie based on it being a movie, it would probably be in my top 10 Christmas movies because I think it's a good movie. All right. What's your favorite Christmas movie of all time, Danielle?
Well, I got to go with one that's already been said, but A Christmas Story is definitely my
I thought you were going to say Gremlins.
number one. I do like Gremlins. I crack up when she's like, this is terrible, when she's like talking about how her dad died and she's like, some sob story. Like he was pretending to be
Phoebe Cates.
Santa, and he slipped and
He
broke
gets
his
stuck
neck
in the chimney. Yeah.
And nobody found him for like days or something. They thought he had abandoned him.
It's such a weird piece of that movie. Where you're like, what?
So ridiculous.
Even in the 80s, we were like, what?
Yeah. Anyway, no, not Gremlins. A Christmas Story. I like the old timey feel of it. I like the just the way the family is. I like the little boy eating like a piggy. I like him getting his coat on.
There's
the tongue stuck on the flagpole, and
there's so much that's identifiable
Yeah.
in that movie for anybody. The bullies.
yes,
Trying to avoid them, the camaraderie among the friends, the cursing, even the getting caught, the bar of soap in the mouth. Yeah,
and then he told him it was his. Yeah, then he tells his mom he heard his friend say it when really it was his dad. He didn't say it.
What is an absolutely a Christmas movie trope where the dad acts like he's detached through most of the movie emotionally, and then he's the one who gets him the gift at the end. I think there's one more behind the desk over there. And the mom's clearly out of the loop because she clearly didn't want him to have the BB gun. But that's like a Christmas trope, that the dad who appears to be emotionally detached from the kids is the one who saves the day and gets the present, right? So even that was sort of identifiable, I think.
Now, I don't keep up with, woke culture, but has that one come up at all? I'm surprised if it hasn't.
No.
For the scene in the Chinese restaurant.
Oh, because they can't say their R's?
Yeah. Well, no, it's the...
Or the L's.
Yeah.
They can't say their L's. Yeah, in the Deck the Halls song.
Yes.
I don't know. Is that?
Well, I mean, it's
I
making
haven't heard
fun
anything.
I think it's making fun of the fact that they can't say it.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm a born American, and there's things that I don't say right.
But even the...
I don't even have an excuse.
Even the Broadway, or it wasn't Broadway, was it? It was the off-Broadway or whatever, that they televised the musical.
Oh, yeah.
I even enjoyed that.
Yeah.
I just think the story's delightful and fun. And
Gosh, the scene at the Chinese food place at the end, though, it's classic. I love that scene. Even down to the goose with the head on. They chop the head off at the table. It's awesome. Awesome. Yeah, that's a fantastic pick for a favorite. Much better than Cody's. No, I'm just kidding.
I already forgot what Cody's was.
Cody's number one is the same as my number one.
There we go.
National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation.
Yes.
I think what I love about this movie the most is that his Christmas is like a cartoonish disaster. It's just a disaster all the way through. I watched this last night with my oldest daughter, who also loves this movie. And every scene, something goes wrong. Like, it's just a disaster in every sense of the word. And I love that by the end of the movie, that all that matters was they were together and they made it through. The last line he speaks in the movie is, "I did it," which is hilarious in and of itself. We already talked a lot about it when Cody made it his number one. I love that everything's well thought out and everything's funny, even down to the little things. So the sister brother. So you have the daughter played by Juliette Lewis, a young Juliette Lewis is Audrey. Johnny Galecki is Russ. Even their stuff together is funny. The dog, Cousin Eddie's dog, Snots, who has a sinus condition.
The neighbors.
Even the dog sellers. Oh, yeah. One of the most quotable side characters of all time. My daughter has a friend named Margot, and I'm constantly like, I don't know, Margot. Like, it probably bothers her immensely.
She probably has no idea what you're talking about.
I just love that I know someone named Margot, so I can say that over and over again. Brian Doyle Murray is the boss. I mean, just everything about this movie. The grandparents. I mean, these are well-known actors that play the grandparents. Diane Ladd is Clark's mom. Doris Roberts is Frances Ellen's mom. The whole thing is wonderful. You mentioned the music. We mentioned the music. So there's the scene, even the ones that play at the heartstrings, like when he's up in the attic and he's watching the old. To me, that's the heart of the movie. That scene, like that scene is telling you why Christmas is special to Clark, and it's like the heart of why he's doing everything he's doing, why he's so over the top, is because he has these wonderful, great memories about his childhood Christmases. Even though he references at near the end of the movie about how they were always disasters, and he still has great memories. And man, I just identify with that. Like, that's how my family was. It's like not everything was perfect. We had disasters, but I look back and my family, we're a bunch of weirdos and, goofy people. And I just look back at those Christmases as just really stellar, really stellar.
I also like the fact that like he looks beyond himself, especially after talking to, is it Ruby Sue? Is that the Cousin Eddie's daughter? Yeah. And like, he's like, oh, this family isn't going to have Christmas gifts. I got to make this special for them and keep their hope and faith in the Christmas spirit going. And like there's just so many, there's heartfelt moments in it, and there's so many hilarious moments in it. And like, it's just an all-time great.
The movie, honestly, it's going to be a good movie no matter what, but it picks up steam once Cousin Eddie gets there.
Absolutely.
Randy Quaid as Cousin Eddie is just the thing that the movie needed to send it over the top. It's hilarious in every scene that he's in. He's just a big part of that movie, and it's the movie, like, he's in the original Vacation, but I think it's Christmas Vacation that puts Cousin Eddie in the pop culture lexicon basically of greatness, because this scene, obviously some great quotes, that some of which I can't mention. But yeah, he's holding out for a management position. Every time she fires up the microwave, I pee my pants, forget who I am for half an hour. Yeah, everything. Like everything about Eddie in this movie is absolute comic gold. The plastic in his head. If I go sledding down that hill with nothing in between my brain and but this piece of plastic, and it's over here, my part wouldn't look right. Yeah, the whole thing is hilarious. Just one of my absolute favorites.
And I think that's why, like, I haven't ruled out Vegas Vacation being a bad movie, is just because they know Cousin Eddie lines like land like pure gold. And so they keep playing that trope up, which I mean, it would probably get old after a while, but
I need to rewatch that with an open mind, because I think for me, after Christmas Vacation, that Christmas, the holiday of Christmas, is just embedded in them for me. Like when that movie comes out, I liked the original Vacation, and I even mildly liked European Vacation. But after Christmas Vacation comes out, they're like just intertwined in Christmas for me. And I think maybe Vegas Vacation was something that I just wasn't as interested in, because I wanted Christmas Vacation too. I want them in Christmas. I don't want them going on just some random vacation. And I think that's maybe part of why I was disappointed. I'll have to give another shot.
Or you don't. It's okay.
Or I don't. All right. Anything else we need to talk about on our favorite Christmas stuff? All right. stay tuned. We're going to take a break. Stay tuned for part 2 of our special Christmas podcast. So I was looking at a quantum physics paper based on if you could jump off a building and your cape could turn into, like, go rigid and turn into wings. If that could
turn to a glider.
Yeah, and turn into a glider like Batman. And they said no, it couldn't.
Well, they're wrong.
That it couldn't. And you would die. There's not enough drag, which is why George Clooney was the best Batman, because he had bat nipples, which would create more drag and allow him to land safely.
Oh,
because they're not aerodynamic. Why are you laughing? This is serious business.
Might be the first person to have ever said George Clooney's the best Batman.
I was thinking that he was redefining what the rubber costume means.
Yeah.
With how stiff it got. Anyway, I'm
Yeah.
gonna back off of that.
No, I was not. I was not doing that at all. It's it's all physics.
I'm just saying, I don't think that Rosemary Clooney would even say that George was the best.
Well, Rosemary's dead.
Well, I'm just saying, if she was alive and had seen the movie,
She would totally say George is the best. She loved George. That's her nephew, man.
I'm just saying, I don't
Shocking
think so.
Rosemary Clooney slander in the middle of Christmas season. Beloved white Christmas icon. What is wrong with you, Cody? Scott Dillon's
Yeah.
here. Scott, how's
Scott's
it going?
here.
I'm here.
But yeah, no, I totally think that Christian Bale's bat suit would work as a glider.
I'm with that. And I've seen, those TV shows where they, like Mythbusters, where they pretend to prove things are true.
Well,
did it.
the Oxford School of Quantum Physics says you're wrong.
Well, the Oxford School of Quantum Physics hasn't invented time travel yet, so I don't care.
Yeah.
That you know of. That you know of. There's a lot of things you know. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Whenever this is the magic of podcasts.
Yeah.
Is you could be listening to this anytime. So good, whatever it is to you. And welcome to a bonus pod. This is a bonus pod. Our second bonus pod. This time, Dave and Cody, as always, myself and Cody are here, and we're joined by Scott Dillon, who was on one of our most recent cover pods.
Yeah.
What?
We just discussed news the whole time, and there was enough news that we didn't have to get into anything.
My daughter is literally FaceTiming me. Hold on a second. This is the best pod ever. I'm podcasting. Where I can't hear you. Where's your face? How come I can't hear your face? What?
Can you do you have time to take $22 out of my savings and put it in my spending?
Oh, she needs money. She needs money. This is staying on the podcast. This is
Thank you, Ayla.
This is not getting edited out. Yes, how much you need? $22?
That is oddly specific.
Okay. All right. Hold on. I'm going to do it right now. The technology is amazing. We're in the middle of a podcast. My daughter calls up and needs money. See, this is what parenting is all about.
Hey, it's technically my money.
It's
It's my money,
right.
and I need it now.
She's right. This is my money.
Call J.G. Rimbold.
Oh, my goodness.
Okay. Let's send Ayla money. She needs money.
Just you, though. I'm not
Yeah.
going to send her any money.
Yeah.
I mean, if you were a good guest, you would take care of Dave's children
Okay.
financially.
There. You
Sorry.
have money. I'm hanging up on you now.
Okay, love you.
Love you too.
Aww.
Shut up. This is a bonus pod, by the way. You're not paying anything for this, so you get a little bit of a phone call there from my daughter or a FaceTime.
Don't worry about hitting the support button on this one.
She needed some. Yeah.
Well, you
Actually,
probably should
Hit that
after
support
this.
button. My daughter needs a coffee.
That's what I'm saying. Hit support button and then donate $22.
Yes.
And then we will have covered that need.
We will call this episode Catch 22.
As I was saying, this is a bonus pod. A bonus pod. The title of which is a Christmas movie? Question mark? Or nah? Question mark. That's what we're discussing.
Yes.
Is the movies we're about to discuss, is it a Christmas movie or is it not a Christmas movie? So obviously it's going to be borderline stuff. It's not like, stuff like, and we'll most surely get to the Die Hard discussion, but the movies like Die Hard, not like, look, if it's a Christmas movie, it's a Christmas movie. We all know those. Right. Although one Josh Hart on Twitter, who is, he's got a blue check mark. He's got 500,000 followers.
Oh, he's a real person.
I don't know who he is, but he said Home Alone isn't a Christmas movie.
Get out of here with that slander.
I was going to bring that up.
You guys got emotional quickly.
Oh,
I was going to bring that up because I've seen that.
Yeah, he says Home Alone isn't a Christmas movie.
Not from
evidently
Twitter.
You haven't seen John Candy transport Kevin's mom back to Chicago,
Right.
to see her son for Christmas
In the back of a box truck, if I remember correctly.
And talking about how he left his son at a funeral home.
I mean, they literally talk about the themes of Christmas in a church during Mass.
There's so much Christmas imagery. He even hides out
Christmas
in the nativity
Day
scene.
It's Christmas Day when they come back.
Yeah, and it's Christmas Eve when all the bad stuff's happening.
Yeah.
He has a heartwarming moment with Mr. Marley in a church on Christmas Eve.
True.
That's very important to the plot.
At the end there, Mr. Marley reconciles with his son for Christmas.
The sticky bandits, the wet bandits, whoever they are in that movie.
They're wet.
The wet
bandits.
Yeah.
They're literally robbing houses at that time over the Christmas holiday.
Because everybody's on Christmas vacation.
Everybody's gone. Yeah. It's just a dumb thing to say. So there are people out there who
are wrong.
Argue, they're just wrong. But we are going to talk about movies that have a little bit more nuance. Yeah. And so let's just start it off right here. I think the first movie I want to start off with is a movie called Gremlins. Now,
I'm familiar.
I think the best way to do this will just be to maybe read a summary.
Yeah, read us a synopsis.
A gadget salesman looking for a special gift, Christmas gift for his son, and finds one at a store in Chinatown. The shopkeeper is reluctant to sell him the Mogwai, but sells it to him with the warning to never expose him to bright light, water, or defeat him after midnight, which would have been a no-go for me right away.
How...
There's anything that comes with rules. They should come with that many rules for stupid dogs.
I feed myself after midnight, so the problem is...
All of that happens, and the result is a gang of gremlins that decide to tear up the town on Christmas Eve. I'll start this off. Gremlins is totally a Christmas movie.
Yeah, because literally they're bought as a Christmas gift. It's based around Christmas.
I have a hot take here.
Okay.
Oh,
And it's...
Hit us with your wrong hot take.
No. See, the thing is, it is a Christmas movie.
Oh, okay.
But because we get a dead Santa Claus in the film. Do you guys remember when the girlfriend is explaining why she hates Christmas, and it just so happens that her dad dressed up like Santa Claus,
played by Phoebe Cates,
right?
Yep.
Drops down the chimney.
Oh, yeah.
And they think he's just upped and left town, but the truth is he's dead in their chimney for a long time.
I forgot
Dressed
about
like
that.
Santa Claus.
So I'd forgotten about that. And
Best Christmas movie ever.
Yeah, I recently rewatched it last Christmas with my kids and forgot about that part. And I was like, oh.
It's a surprisingly dark film.
So is that the darkest Christmas moment? Because I still go with the contender of Back to Home Alone. John Candy talking about leaving his son at a funeral home and how resilient kids are, and the mom's like, I wish I had not asked you.
The hilarious
Well,
thing,
he asked her.
The hilarious thing about
Yeah.
that entire scene is John Candy. I think I read that he ad-libbed much of that
Yes,
scene.
he did.
If
I
not
would
all
believe
of it. And they left it in. Maybe they didn't. I think what I read was that Columbus didn't want to at first.
Well, considering how much of a cheapskate Columbus was with paying him,
But
he
yeah,
makes the movie.
To me, Gremlins is clearly a Christmas movie. I think people who say it's not a Christmas movie, so some people think a Christmas movie has to make them feel good. It has to
Yeah.
be a feel good movie.
Yeah.
But this is not a feel good
No.
Christmas movie.
People die.
It's horror. It's basically a horror movie that's made for children.
It's Chucky.
It was the 80s. That's what they did for
I was
kids
going
back
to
then.
say, like, now we have Krampus.
Right. He's on purpose.
Not
Yeah.
Belschnickel.
No.
Not Belschnickel. But yeah, no, we have the Krampus movie, and it would fit in that genre of Christmas style.
I have a
That's
question.
dark.
Have you guys been impish or admirable?
Impish.
Gremlins is impish. Maybe that's how we should approach how we judge the rest of these films. Are they impish or admirable?
This came out in 1984. It made $212 million at the box office, which back then, huge movie.
That's Avengers money now.
Yeah, that was a huge movie, and frankly, everyone I know, I was I was eight at the time this movie came out, and everybody I know wanted a Mogwai.
I was not alive at the time, but another 5 years, I'll come around.
You said 1984.
Yeah.
I wasn't even a thought.
Yeah, I'm old. This did spawn a sequel, Gremlins 2, where I don't know if it takes place on Christmas at all.
I was gonna say
I
Gremlins
don't
2,
remember it
not a
being-
Christmas movie.
They take over like a skyscraper in that one.
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
like how we'll get into this later, but Die Hard with a Vengeance is not a Christmas film.
Okay, I mean, yeah, I'm for that, but we need to talk about the first two.
We'll get into it.
Yeah.
Okay. Next movie, Batman Returns. The Tim Burton directed Batman Returns, 1992. The monstrous penguin, played by Danny DeVito, who lives in the sewers beneath Gotham, joins up with wicked, shock-headed businessman Max Schreck, played by Christopher Walken, to topple the Batman once and for all. But when Schreck's timid assistant, Selena Kyle, also known as the Catwoman, played by Michelle Pfeiffer, finds out, and Shrek tries to kill her, she's transformed into the Catwoman, and she teams up with the Penguin and Shrek to destroy Batman, but sparks fly unexpectedly when she confronts the Caped Crusader.
As Bruce Wayne at first.
Yeah. Cody?
This is a Christmas film.
Cody, I'm going to ask
Sorry.
Cody first. Wait your turn. Christmas movie or no?
In my opinion, it is, but I was also a kid when this came out, and so like
Okay, maybe I need to rephrase the question.
It does.
Pretend you're Tim Burton. Christmas movie or no to Tim Burton?
It's still a Christmas movie.
Yeah,
for
yeah.
Tim.
I'd say definitely he thinks it is.
Oh yeah,
But he's super weird.
yeah.
Super weird, dude.
I mean, there's Christmas trees in it. There's gifts.
This won't be the last time we reference Tim Burton in this list.
There is a Danny DeVito, and what Christmas doesn't have Danny DeVito in it? So
Well, he's literally a real life elf. A lot of people don't know that. How tall is Danny DeVito?
he is not that tall. Or everyone that he has ever played with in anything is really tall.
I just want to mention this. Oswald Cobblepot.
He's 4'10".
In that film, was born on Christmas Day. Mm-hmm. It's a Christmas film.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Or
I'll
is it
buy
a
that.
birthday movie?
I'll buy
now?
that. What's the difference? Christmas
Jesus.
is a birthday.
Jesus' birthday.
Danny DeVito is 4'10". Interesting fact: Sylvester Stallone just 1 inch taller, 4'11". Actually, they list Sylvester Stallone. I think I've mentioned this before at 5'11" or something. On if you Google it, he's 5'11". There's no way.
No.
No, he's a 5'5", 5'6" tops.
He's got to be. I mean, maybe.
I don't know
5'7".
how he suckered Google into thinking he's somehow taller than he
Well,
is.
what do they have Tom Cruise listed at? Because like he's really like 5'6".
Sylvester Stallone, according to Google, is 5'10". There's just no way. Tom Cruise?
Yeah, the Tomas Cruise.
Tom Cruise is 5'7".
They have him listed at 5'7". I still think he's probably shorter than that. It might be
5'3".
It might be.
I
the-
honestly think Tom Cruise and Sylvester Stallone are the same height. At least.
You know how they make movies with those guys is they
Yes.
dig trenches around where they stand.
Well, they
so
had
that
they
look
had
taller.
Sylvester Stallone actually standing on a box in the scenes where he's like standing next to Dolph Lundgren in Rocky IV.
Oh, for sure. Dolph Lundgren is like 7 feet tall
6'5", but close.
compared to Sylvester
That's
Stallone.
I mean, it's taller than me.
and he went to MIT.
oh wow.
Drago? Yeah, he's a smart dude.
Yeah, you would not assume that by watching Rocky IV, but you would be wrong.
Okay, I mean, since we're talking about it, we need to talk about Rocky IV. Is it a Christmas movie? What, you guys got awfully
Okay,
quiet.
so-
But it takes place around Christmas.
It does.
It does.
After
That's right.
reclaiming the boxing championship title, Rocky Balboa plans to retire and live with his wife Adrian. However, during an exhibition match, Rocco's friend Apollo Creed is mercilessly beaten to death when Sylvester does not throw the towel in. Throw the towel! By hulking newcomer Ivan Drago. Rocky vows payback against Drago, flies to Russia, trains for a Christmas Day fight by running up a mountain and going, Drago!
Okay, so I'm going
We
to take
have-
the hot take and say no.
We've got to cut the line here somewhere. And I think
Okay,
Rocky.
give me a reason. Give me a
Okay,
reason
here's
why
here's
is
the
Rocky
reasons.
4 so
Okay.
why is Gremlins a Christmas movie and Rocky
Yes,
4 is
okay,
not?
so
Because I think I might agree with you. I just want to hear
So-
your reasoning.
I feel it is a patriotic action film that just happens to have the main event happen on Christmas, but Christmas isn't the focal point. Where like Gremlins, oh, this is a gift for Christmas, and it runs amok on Christmas. Batman, they are trying to ruin Gotham's Christmas. Like Christmas is a pivotal part in those two movies. The fight would happen on any day of the week, but like if it was in the summer, it happened on the 4th of July. If it was like sometime else, it would happen on some other holiday. But literally, you could transplant this movie into any other holiday, and it's not going to change it one iota.
Yeah. Scott, you have thoughts?
Yeah, I agree with Cody. It's not a Christmas film because you can remember 99% of Rocky IV, and you'll forget that it took place on Christmas.
I agree with both of what you're saying. Yeah, it could take place at any time. It makes me think that at some point in the script, the Christmas part was going to be a bigger deal. And that maybe a lot of it ended up on the cutting room floor. Now, recently, Sylvester Stallone put out the uncut version of this. It put it back in theaters, and it had something like 43 additional minutes. You remember us talking about this, Cody?
I have a friend that has watched it.
Yeah, we talked about it on the radio show.
I have not watched it yet.
And that's crazy because I figured like there was a good 5 to 10 minutes of robot made hijinks in this movie.
Yeah.
So how much more robot made hijinks were there? But now I'm wondering if there's a lot of stuff to do with Christmas. Like maybe they planned on making it a bigger thing.
And so then we would have to alter this or revisit it.
Yeah. I need to see the uncut version of Rocky IV. That's what I'm saying.
So jury might still be out.
Yeah.
But I'm going to say no right now.
I concur. Scott, I assume you concur. Rocky
yeah.
IV, not a Christmas movie. Sorry, Rocky fans. The next movie, Iron Man 3. Iron Man 3, plagued with worry and insomnia since saving New York from destruction, Tony Stark, played by Robert Downey Jr., now is more dependent on the suits that give him his Iron Man persona. So much so that every aspect of his life is affected, including his relationship with Pepper. After a malevolent enemy known as the Mandarin, not the Mandarin, spoiler, reduces his personal world to rubble, Tony must rely solely on instinct and ingenuity to avenge his losses and protect the people he loves. In a world where this is not a Christmas movie.
Yeah, because like I really don't remember anything Christmassy about the movie because it focuses so much on his relationship with Pepper not being great. And like all the suits, because there's like 50,000 Iron Man suits in this movie, and like you blow on them and they just fall apart. Where like in Iron Man 2, this thing could get hit by a Mack truck and would dent the truck and not the suit. And then like you got the twist ending of, oh, that's not the Mandarin.
Trevor Slattery.
Yeah,
Actor.
The weird
Yes.
part about this movie is it's directed by Shane Black. And Shane Black has a history of making Christmas the backdrop of his movies. And you're not quite certain on the why. And maybe he just likes Christmas. I don't know. But this one, it's again.
I'll throw it in there the same way I threw it in Rocky 4. You can remember 99% of Iron Man 3. Like Cody mentioned, he didn't even remember that Christmas took place at the same time as Iron Man 3.
Yeah.
And that should have been a July the 4th film.
The only reason I remember it is
Yeah.
the Christmas lights on the kid in the kid's garage.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like, did he have a tree in there? Maybe I don't remember.
Something like that. Some
Yeah.
sort of decoration. But you can't remember.
Yep,
Which means
right.
it's not a Christmas film.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think.
Although
that's a
this
good way
might
to
be my
put it.
favorite Iron Man movie. I'm going to take that hot take.
It,
Oh, that's
it
not
beats
a hot
the first?
take. That's not a
Oh,
hot
yeah.
take. This is clearly the best Iron Man movie.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So now we have disagreement.
There it is. Why?
Iron Man 3 is the best Iron Man movie because it doesn't have to deal with origin, which the first one does. It's necessary. It has to tell us his origin story. And not that that's boring, but it's your standard superhero movie, right?
Yeah.
It's got Act 1, Act 2, and Act 3. It's just standard, which is fine. It's good. Robert Downey Jr. is good. Iron Man 2, a little bit less good, but still good.
I didn't
that
care
one-
for Iron Man 2 at all.
That one's, yeah, I agree with Cody. That one's okay.
Yeah, but I don't think it was bad. But Iron Man 3 is just so different from all the other super. It's the first Marvel movie besides Avengers that gets to follow a different kind of formula.
Yeah, it does also bring up like PTSD and how Tony deals with all of that and
Yeah.
everything. And his therapist is Bruce Banner. You guys remember that at the end of the film? Mm-hmm. He's narrating
Yeah.
the entire
Well,
thing.
he gets to get into some action as Tony Stark,
Yeah.
not Iron Man. I think it's brilliant.
I think
Oh,
the first
you
two.
convinced me. It's the best one.
I think the first two might suffer from at this time. DC is actually at its height with the Dark Knight trilogy, and they're trying to make it more Batman-esque, not dark, but like have more of that action feel,
That
like
grittiness.
Yeah, and like they finally discovered their voice.
Well,
in the third one,
and the rope-a-dope they play with the bad guy in this movie is classic. I know a lot of people weren't happy with that.
and it paid off.
Oh, it totally paid off. By the time you get to Shang-Chi, it's just like, this is what we've been waiting for. Right?
I do distinctly remember wanting a fourth or fifth Iron Man film because the third one, I liked it versus seeing Iron Man 2 and not caring if there was another Iron Man film.
Yep. Next movie, Eyes Wide Shut. Tom Cruise. Have you guys seen Eyes Wide Shut?
No, you'll have to read the synopsis on this one.
I literally wrote in my notes, I don't even care.
Well, well, there goes my joke. I was just going to wait for one of you to say yes and call you a sinner. That was that fell flat.
Who was in this besides Tommy Cruise?
Not people.
Nicole Kidman, right?
Maybe not a lot of people you've heard of. Sidney Pollack, Nicole Kidman's in it. His wife at the time. After Dr. Bill Hartford's wife Alice admits to having, you know what? This isn't important. Let's move on.
Just cut that out.
It's not a Christmas movie.
You just
That's
wanted
what's
to call one
important.
of us a sinner for seeing it.
Absolutely, that was absolutely what I wanted.
Good job,
to do.
Pastor. Calling out the sinners.
The next one on the list.
I wouldn't feel bad if I actually have seen it and I just don't remember it. So
This one was put here by request of Kane Colton, who's been on the podcast.
Friend of the show.
Friend of the show, formerly of the band Detour 180, and fellow New Zealander along with Taika Waititi.
And Jermaine from Flight of the Conchords.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, Jermaine Clement.
He suggested the movie The Family Man, a 2000 movie with Nick Cage, Téa Leoni, Don Cheadle, about a man named Jack whose lavish, fast-paced lifestyle changes one Christmas night when he stumbles into a grocery store holdup, disarms the gunman, and the next morning he wakes up in bed lying next to Kate, his college sweetheart he left in order to pursue his career. Now, what Kane didn't know is that this movie is actually a retelling of It's a Wonderful Life.
I was going to say, it's clearly a retelling of It's a Wonderful Life. But just Nicolas Cage.
Yeah, but they do a good job, just like of It's a Wonderful Life. The movie does a great job of not making Christmas the focal point, but making it enough of the point to be like, mystical things happen on Christmas, right?
You could watch it on Christmas and you could make the case that it's a Christmas film.
I'm going to stand here and tell you that this is a Christmas movie.
I was going to say, like several podcasts ago, you may have mentioned that this is like one of your underrated Christmas
this is
films.
Absolutely one of my favorite Christmas movies. I will watch it every Christmas movie season. And I absolutely think The Family Man is a Christmas movie. Don Cheadle literally plays an angel, but they never call him that. He's just his name in the cast simply is Cash.
Cash.
Yeah. Because it's a line in the movie where he says he's going to buy a lottery ticket from him because he's fake. Don Cheadle's pretending to hold up a convenience store, basically, and to get this whole thing started. But he's clearly an angel, and then he's making Nick Cage wants to make out a check to him. He's like, "You can just make it out to Cash." Don Cheadle is as cool as ever in this movie. But yeah, totally a Christmas movie, and if you haven't seen it, you should totally watch it. It's so good.
Yeah, I won't disagree on that, especially with comparisons to previously mentioned Christmas movies.
Mm-hmm. This is directed by Brett Ratner, by the way, who it doesn't have the best reputation among directors, but I think this is a good movie. I'll give him some credit. I liked it.
I'm with it.
I now want to put Nicolas Cage's face on top of my Christmas tree.
I will say, I think this is
a star.
Not a lot of people say this. I think this is the best Nick Cage performance of all time.
I was gonna say it's got to be up there because it's not.
Name one better.
Face Off.
No, I'm sorry, that's incorrect.
Moonstruck.
No. Well. Okay,
Ghost Rider, just kidding.
I haven't rewatched Moonstruck since I was forced to watch it when I was a kid in the 80s and found it incredibly boring.
Oh, you guys Left Behind.
Stop it.
Just don't. Like, the Gone in 60 Seconds movie, way better than Fast and Furious in my book. Mm-hmm. I don't know why that one didn't get sequels, and here I am watching Fast and Furious 9 in outer space.
Because it's about family.
Because it was Bruckheimer. Nobody wanted to see another Bruckheimer movie. If they were going to make a sequel, they should have made a sequel to The Rock. Or Pearl Harbor. What? Why are you laughing? I mean, that movie was long enough. They could have split it into two.
Yes. I mean, the events were all just like one day, but
the whole last 45 minutes to an hour of Pearl Harbor. So, hour 3 leading to 4. That movie was so long. That should have been a sequel. It's like it takes place long after Pearl Harbor.
Yeah.
You're not wrong, Dave.
Like the whole thing was made so Ben Affleck could cry over Josh Hartnett dying. Spoilers.
Someone needed to cry over him.
And where's Cuba Gooding? I get him for like 10 minutes of that movie.
And he steals the show.
Yeah, I don't know.
Would have made a good sequel.
It would have been. I still think they missed an opportunity there. Next movie, is it a Christmas movie? This is where Tim Burton comes back into play. The Nightmare Before Christmas. Film follows the misadventures of Jack Skellington, Halloween Town's beloved Pumpkin King, who's become bored with the same annual routine of frightening people in the real world. When Jack accidentally stumbles on Christmas Town, all bright colors and warm spirits, he gets a new lease on life. He plots to bring Christmas under his control by kidnapping Santa Claus and taking over the role, but Jack soon discovers that even the best laid plans of mice and skeleton men can go seriously awry. Story by Tim Burton, who says matter-of-factly, this is a Halloween movie, not a Christmas movie.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's absolutely true.
It's false.
He's wrong. He doesn't even know his own movie.
The whole movie's about how he's changed by the Christmas spirit.
And Christmas just happens to be in the title.
But
It's the Nightmare Before Christmas.
He's also the Pumpkin King.
Christmas
He's
movie,
also the
guys.
Pumpkin King. What's your point? That can't be it. The point is in the story, he's changed by the Christmas spirit.
Well,
gets a new lease on
everything
life.
has to do with Christmas in it.
Like if Nightmare Before Christmas was a person, he'd be like Kurt Warner. He'd be the dude who wasn't a believer and now just loves Jesus.
Right on.
Okay. Yeah.
Amen. It's a Christmas movie.
Yeah, I think so too. Thanks for agreeing with me, Scott.
I'm just saying, like, Christmas is in the title and everything revolves around Christmas. The character might be from a Halloween movie, but forget you, Tim Burton.
If I ever got to meet Tim Burton, I'd be like, why are you so why do you have to be so difficult? Like, I feel like he's just trying to be difficult.
Who hurt you?
Because, yeah,
Santa.
he didn't get the gift he wanted when he was 8.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, to me, no doubt this is a Christmas movie. No doubt in my mind. Any closing thoughts on that?
I think we're pretty.
Now,
Man,
Scott, how old are you?
I am 25.
Let's watch Scott's face go blank when I say the next film is 1983 comedy Trading Places.
Oh, yeah.
Yep, there. You're right. It's blank. I did not. I have not seen this film. So
Upper crust-
take it away, guys.
Upper crust executive Louis Winthorpe III, played by Dan Aykroyd, and down and out hustler Billy Ray Valentine, played by Eddie Murphy, are the subjects of a bet by successful brokers Mortimer and Randolph Duke. An employee of the Dukes, Winthorpe is framed by the brothers for a crime he didn't commit, with the siblings then installing the street-smart Valentine in his position. When Winthorpe and Valentine uncover the scheme, they set out to turn the table on the Dukes. Made $90 million back in 1983. That's a lot of money.
It is a lot of money.
Directed by John Landis.
Yes. Who will go on to direct Coming to America. Mm-hmm. And technically, this movie's still in the same cinematic universe because the two wealthy gents that make the bet are the two homeless gents.
Yeah, and Coming to America. Right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Let me ask a question. Being the guy who hasn't seen this film, you've talked about it for about 2 minutes. No mention of Christmas.
That's because it's not a Christmas movie. We got to the answer.
Yeah.
I don't really have much to say on it other than, I don't think it's a Christmas movie.
Yeah, it really isn't. It's a fun movie.
It's very fun. Eddie Murphy at his funniest.
Yeah.
In this time frame. But yeah.
Kind of launches his stardom.
I talked about Shane Black earlier. Who directed Iron Man 3. He also wrote a movie called Lethal Weapon.
I'm familiar with this movie.
Lethal Weapon came out in 1987 following the death of his wife. Los Angeles police detective Martin Riggs, played by Mel Gibson, becomes reckless and suicidal. When he's reassigned and partnered with Roger Murtaugh, played by Danny Glover.
Who's too old for this stuff.
He is too old for this stuff. Riggs immediately clashes with the older officer. Together, they uncover a massive drug trafficking ring. As they encounter increasingly dangerous situations, Riggs and Murtaugh begin to form a bond. Riggs' volatile behavior might just help them apprehend the criminals. Is it a Christmas movie, Cody?
A little bit of one.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to declare it a full-fledged Christmas movie, but like there's some scenes about being a widow on Christmas.
It's clearly the backdrop.
Yeah.
There's plenty of bonding, funny moments, family goodness.
Yes.
Decorations are throughout. And I will point out that in 2 parts of the film, Jingle Bell Rock is heard and I'll Be Home for Christmas.
Yeah, like
This is Shane Black, though. Maybe it's a Shane Black thing. He just likes to make Christmas the backdrop.
it's definitely more of a Christmas movie than Iron Man 3.
I will say this. This has implications for what what Die Hard is.
I'm seeing the similarities. I also think, they end up having Krim over for Christmas at the end of the film.
Yeah.
So since he's widowed, they invite him over. The thing I wanted to mention was, though, that this film is far more, because it launches the buddy cop film genre, that almost, to me, overtakes the Christmas backdrop of it, because there's been so many more copies.
Yeah.
So, like, in the Netflix description of genre, you would say buddy cop and then Christmas? Or buddy cop action movie, then Christmas movie?
Yeah, I would say
because it would be listed somewhere.
It would be, but it would be further down the list.
Yeah. Okay.
I think that this is not a Christmas movie, but I think it's about as close as you can get without being one. I'll say that. I think this is the closest one. I think this is so borderline. But I think this one and Die Hard almost share the same space. But when we get to Die Hard, I'll tell you what throws it over into Christmas movie territory for me.
Yeah. Again, I think Christmas goes in the description of genre, but it's not like one of the primary genres that it's fitting in.
Yeah. Okay. Next movie. Everyone, we're in agreement there then. Not a Christmas movie.
Not a Christmas movie, but almost.
Lethal Weapon, not, but almost. About as close as you can get. Uncle Buck. 1989. When Cindy and her husband Bob have to leave town for a family emergency, there's only one person available to babysit for their 3 kids, Bob's lazy, carefree brother Buck, played by the immortal John Candy. While he immediately gets along with the 2 younger children, Gabby Hoffman and one Macaulay Culkin, a year before his Home Alone movie comes out.
Right.
Buck must change his bachelor lifestyle if he wants to be a responsible caregiver for the angst-filled teenager Tia, who everyone in 1989 had a crush on.
Oh, Tia.
She's
so much angst.
Her real name is Jean Louisa Kelly. That was the actress's name.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So Uncle Buck, is it a Christmas movie again?
Where's the Christmas?
Yes, it is.
It's in the backdrop. There's lights. There's snow.
Yes, like it's a holiday movie. I'm going out. I'll go all the way out on it.
Wait. Before we move on to your opinion, what happens if I take Macaulay Culkin out of the movie and replace him with another child actor? Are you maybe saying that because Macaulay Culkin, it's cute, sweet Macaulay Culkin's there?
Insert Haley Joel Osment into that role, and I will still say this is a Christmas movie. And by the way, I really want the giant pancakes he makes with the snow shovel in the oven. That is amazing.
If you should follow Binging with Babish on YouTube, because he makes those.
What?
Yeah, he shows you how to make pancakes that absolutely large. Side note, I don't think it's. I think if we declared Lethal Weapon not a Christmas film because the backdrop is there, where is it in Uncle Buck?
Yeah, I want to because it's Macaulay Culkin.
Yeah,
is in this movie.
It's John Candy for me, and he's the fun uncle leading up to that Christmas day. It's the Christmas time of year.
Is there a scene in that movie that takes place on Christmas Day? I seem to remember. Gosh, it's been so long since I've seen Uncle Buck.
I feel it does.
But I feel like there's a scene where he gets all dressed up in a nice sweater.
Yes, he
and
does.
The parents aren't back yet.
And I think he is his lady friend.
Does he take him to the
over.
bowling alley on Christmas?
I am still going out on the limb and saying
it has
it's
the dude who
Christmas.
does the toothpick trick, moving
Yeah.
the toothpick around in his mouth without touching it with his hands. And he's got the scars on his lips where apparently that practice. Oh, that movie's hilarious.
That movie should be on more. That's what I'm saying.
I agree. John Candy is way too.
I'm going to abstain from
Awesome.
voting on this one because it's been too long since I've seen it. But I feel like if that scene happens the way I remember it, that's a Christmas Day scene where Uncle Buck's still with the kids and the parents aren't back yet, and he takes them to the bowling alley on Christmas. I feel like it's a Christmas movie.
Name it and claim it.
All right.
Sure,
we'll just
sure,
have to
sure.
go with Cody's expertise on Uncle Buck.
You guys can disagree. I'm okay with it, but
No.
just know I'm right and you're wrong, and we can come to agreement on that.
It's a Wonderful Life. 1946.
Well, if we've already said about
Some people would say Family Man's not a Christmas movie, though. And they might be the same people that would say this is not a Christmas movie. In fact, I saw a recent article just in the last couple days where someone said this is not a Christmas movie, that it's about George Bailey, it's about this town, that it could have happened at any time of the year, it would have still been the same, which is weird to me.
like I would say it's in the same avenue as like a Christmas Tale. That there's something supernatural that happens that shows you like something relevant for the season of Christmas and your value of life and how you can either change or remain. And so
This is, I'll let you react to this. This is what Cinema Blend says.
okay.
The story is essentially the rise, fall, and rise again of businessman and family man George Bailey, played by Jimmy Stewart, whose financially costly mistake one Christmas Eve leads him to witness an alternate reality in which he had never been born, thanks to his guardian angel, Clarence. Setting It's a Wonderful Life during the holidays makes its themes of self-worth and especially powerful lesson, but the message is a timeless one, no matter what time of year you watch it, therefore making it not necessarily a Christmas movie.
I think you can watch it all year round, but like it's a Christmas movie. Like you could read Charles Dickens and you could apply that to any time frame. It doesn't have to be on Christmas, but the Christmas season is the season of giving and hope, and it fits perfectly.
Scrooge didn't have to get visited by three ghosts on Christmas Eve.
Yeah.
But it sure makes a lot more sense if he does.
Yeah, this is like one of the first Christmas movies that plays all the time at Christmas.
Yeah. I agree.
Yeah.
I saw this article. I just knew it had to be on the list, but I don't buy it at all. Which leads us to the coup de grace. Wait a minute. Yeah. The final one. Is Die Hard, we must answer the question, is Die Hard a Christmas movie? We got to go through the same process. Let's give the background. Die Hard is a when did this come out?
Is it 90? See if my mind is correct.
1988.
Oh, I was off.
Die Hard is an American action film that originated with Roderick Thorpe's novel. It's based on a novel. There you go. Film takes place at Nakatomi Plaza in Los Angeles, begins on Christmas Eve when John McClane comes to reunite with separated wife Holly in Los Angeles at her company's Christmas party. Holly abandons her marriage to pursue her career and takes their two children and uses her maiden name. At the fictional Nakatomi Plaza, East German terrorists break in and take the celebrants hostage. McClane escapes detection and hides throughout the building. He kills off the gang and learns their real plan to steal $640 million in bearer bonds from the building's vault. In the finale, McClane shoots terrorist leader Hans Gruber. Spoilers. Is this a Christmas movie, Scott?
Absolutely, it is.
Why?
Now I have a machine gun. Ho, ho, ho.
Cody, is this a Christmas movie?
It is one of the rare Christmas action movies.
That's right.
Why? Why is it? Give me your proof.
I mean, quite literally, he's all about getting home for Christmas and trying to save his family and give them some Christmas gifts and cheer. And he's wishing Carl Winslow Merry Christmas.
There's literally, Scott, to your point, he makes Christmas jokes.
He does.
Ho, ho, ho. Now I have a machine gun too. You know, like, and dresses up the dead terrorist in a Santa costume. I mean,
Same
come
scene.
Come on. Yeah. So, and it takes place on Christmas. It's a Christmas part. They're all at a Christmas party.
Christmas party.
Yeah. Yeah. To me, this is absolutely a Christmas movie, that it makes sense that it's on Christmas. It's such a theme in the whole movie. Remember, even the cop that shows up laments that he's working on Christmas Eve.
Yes. Carl Winslow.
Carl Winslow.
Pencil pusher.
Yeah.
Good old Al.
Just wants to have his Twinkies.
Officer Al.
Yeah, Officer Al in this movie, but Carl Winslow in the real world.
Yeah.
Because he is Steve Urkel's nemesis.
To me, what sets this apart from Lethal Weapon is that there are Christmas themes intentionally weaved into the story. So it's not just a backdrop. It's a Christmas party. He's trying to get home for Christmas, like you said. He makes Christmas jokes. Christmas Eve, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And like at the end of the movie, when the credits start rolling, what do you hear? Oh, the weather outside is frightful.
That's right.
Yeah.
Well, and it's the opening song that Argyle plays when he's driving the limo to him. He's like, "Don't you have some Christmas music?" This is Christmas music.
Oh, because he's playing Run DMC.
He plays
it's
Run
Christmas
DMC's
time in Hollis,
Christmas.
Queens. Yeah. Right. You're right.
Yeah.
There's not,
That's
and
just
it's
like-
not. It doesn't
that's
get
like-
more Christmas than it's Christmas time in Hollis, Queens. Yeah. Yeah. It's wonderful movie. Definitely a Christmas movie, and that's what sets it apart from Lethal Weapon. Is that it's just a little bit more embedded in the Christmas holiday. The whole story is.
Yeah.
In fact, it's an allegory. Hans Gruber, you see, is the Roman Empire. No, I'm just kidding.
Is that right?
Just kidding.
I was waiting for where baby Jesus fit in. 6 pound, 8 ounce baby Jesus.
Die Hard 2.
No.
Jury's out.
I'm going to say no.
It's not.
No, it's
I-
not.
just
It's
like-
not as entwined in the story.
I need
Just
to
like
go
Gremlins-
back and
just
watch.
like Gremlins too.
She's coming home for Christmas this time. He's picking her up at the airport. Her flight gets stranded up in the loop, but it's not so much important that it's Christmas, right?
I still need to rewatch Die Hard 2 because it's been forever. Because I skipped Die Hard 2 and go straight to 3.
Here's a hot take for you. I actually preferred Die Hard 2 for the longest time over Die Hard 1.
Really?
I still hold it as maybe a superior movie in a lot of ways. I thought, and this is going to be blasphemy, I liked the bad guy better. I thought the story of what they were trying to do, like it's a cool twist that Hans Gruber, after all that, isn't after, what terrorists would have been known for back then. He's just a thief. In fact, that's a conceit of the movie, the original movie Die Hard. When he finds out that they're just thieves, he kind of laughs at them.
Yeah.
It's a cool, slick writing thing, but it makes it like these guys are losers, Whereas the whole like American military, this special ops force that's gone crooked in the sale under the employ of a drug dealer from Central America. I just dug it. And to me, it was a lot more about, so John McClane getting wrapped up in something bigger than him is even more apparent in that movie.
I'm like one of the weirdos that really, really, really likes the third one. Yeah. And
No. The third one's good too.
I was with you when I
like
I don't think that's weird.
Samuel L. Jackson.
absolutely.
I think a lot of people like the third one the best.
And they would be correct.
Yeah, I
But
thought
not a Christmas movie.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
thought the second one got ignored a lot for being as good as it is. Like, for my money, the scene where he convinces the local PD guy, played by Dennis Franz. Do you remember him?
Oh, yeah.
NYPD Blue guy and Hill Street Blues. where he convinces them that the military force that was sent there to deal with the situation was using blanks by unloading the machine gun in the police station. That scene's amazing. That scene, like I get goosebumps when I watch that scene. It's just really, really good.
Yeah.
I just thought Die Hard 2 is underrated,
Okay.
but not a Christmas movie.
Not a Christmas film.
Okay.
Christmas Eve, but they never actually get to Christmas Day. Right?
Again, I have to go back and rewatch 2 because I skipped 2 and go.
It
1,
does all
3.
take place in a pretty condensed, compressed period. Yeah.
Like the first one.
Yeah, exactly. So the second
But
one.
we definitely passed midnight in the first one.
Yeah,
to
the
Christmas
second one,
Day.
it's unclear where you're at. You assume some time passes.
I
but-
think they just add the Christmas Eve thing in the second film because it was so Christmassy in the first one. They wanted to make it feel like a sequel.
Yeah, marketing. You think
Yeah,
it's marketing?
absolutely.
I could go with that. And then he says that line, right? It's Christmas Eve. You're crawling through the air vents again. He has that where he's talking to himself, just having a few laughs. Yeah, it's John McClane.
It is.
Not a Christmas movie. Die Hard 2, not a
But
Christmas
it
movie.
is so weird. Like how his character goes, like from just being a regular Joe to like in the fourth one, all of a sudden he is able to like do special ops stuff.
Well, we talked about this. We talked about this with Sylvester Stallone on the last pod, though, didn't we?
Yeah.
Or 2 pods ago. We talked about how like the character of John Rambo in the first one, the important thing about that movie is that like there's this real message that's being talked about how unkind we were to our veterans coming back from Vietnam. But the weird part is that the part of the movie that people love and really fall in love with is the action. And John Rambo becomes this like caricature. He becomes a cartoon.
Mm-hmm.
And you're right. John McClane does that too. And I'll say that you point out 4, but it starts in this one.
Yeah.
It starts with like he gets recognized as a celebrity in the airport. Remember? Several times in this movie, he gets recognized as a celebrity. And again, he's like doing things. The first movie's great because he gets hurt. Remember, he's caught barefoot and they find that out and they blow out all the glass and he's like has to run over it. Mm-hmm. And in this movie, you just never get the sense that he's just a regular dude caught up in something bigger than him. No. He's already starting to
He's
ascend
after it.
to that superhero status, right?
He's after he's in the first one, he's reluctant and it wasn't supposed to happen.
Yeah.
By the fourth one, he's chasing it.
And the only annoying thing part about Die Hard 2 over Die Hard 1 is his character, and I don't know if this is written into it or if this is just Bruce Willis being Bruce Willis, it believes it. Like he's super cocky in this one.
Yeah.
And it's like, man, I wish they'd have made him a little more humble.
Yeah, because he kind of was in the first film. He's like the whole time, he's like, I don't want to be doing this. And I'm just trying to survive through the night.
Yeah.
And I hate how incompetent the LAPD is.
Oh, yeah. But the airport cops are even worse.
Yeah.
The Dulles International Airport cops. These guys are something else.
But he steps into more of a, I can take care of this. I've done it before.
Yeah. Yeah. He becomes like, it starts in this movie, but you're right. By the time you get to like 4, the one Kevin Smith's in, oh my goodness, he's become full on John Rambo in the Rambo sequels.
That's just like Fast and Furious. In the first Fast and Furious films, they were just stealing DVD players.
Yeah.
And racing on the side.
Yep. And then it became Family in Space.
Why do we like that? Why do we like
Somebody
that sort of
very
stuff?
close to me, it's their favorite film franchise. And so I had to I chose to sit down and watch all of them with her. And they become such a caricature of themselves that you start to enjoy how ridiculous they can push it. That's my personal opinion on the Fast franchise.
That's how I feel about Sharknado.
Yeah. The first film, Grounded. No, I'm kidding.
Sharknado was
Velocipaster.
brilliant.
Dude, we got to have a whole pod on Velocipaster at some point.
I have a guest that we need to invite for Velocipaster.
Okay.
Because like
we need to have a geek roundtable.
They
for
know
Velocipaster.
the writer and maker of Velocipaster.
Wow.
That's great.
Wow. We've got connections to the writer and maker of Velocipaster?
I do.
Oh,
well,
I see how it is. Okay. All right. Sorry, man.
Actually, Leah does, my wife. So, yeah. Thank you, wifey.
Who was it? Someone was telling me the other day they're related to Lori Petty. Was that you?
That was not me.
I think it was Jason Giesemann, who's also been on the podcast. His cousin is Lori Petty. Tank Girl.
Oh, okay.
That's his cousin.
He's living it up.
So we've got connections. We need to try and see if we can get Lori Petty on the podcast. Talk about some League of Their Own.
This person also happened to write a book that was used as background information, like study by what's his name? Eastbound Down guy.
Oh,
Danny McBride.
Danny McBride, yeah.
For Danny McBride's Mega Church series on HBO.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. The gems. The gems. What's that? Righteous gemstones?
Righteous
something
gems,
like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah.
We've
stretched this out.
We've stretched this out long enough. We're talking about all sorts of things now, including our connections. Scott, thanks for joining us on our bonus pod.
Yes.
Thanks for having me, man.
Yeah.
For round 2.
For Dave and Cody, of course, we appreciate everyone listening. Don't forget, if you feel like it, you can go to Spotify or Anchor. Our homes on Spotify or Anchor, we do have a support button if you'd like to support the podcast. We promise any fundage you give to us will be dedicated. None of it will go into our pockets. It'll all be dedicated towards making the pod better. Buying new equipment, better equipment. Hey, you never know. Maybe we'll go YouTube with this eventually.
Yeah. You could actually see what I look like.
I see what you look like.
I'll be using a cardboard cutout of George Clooney for me. You will not see what I look like.
Batman.
All right, we got to get out of here. Thanks for listening to Pop Culture Pastor.